Welcome to the SPL. My name is Finch, and I appreciate you joining us here today. We've got two big matches lined up for you that could take us all day long. I'm actually joined here, though, on the desk to break this down with Anatoly, Alexei, happy to have you here with me as well, man. And we've got some sets here. Maybe this first one not quite as good as the second one, but I think it could definitely still be telling for both of these teams. It's going to be LG going up against Rival, and on paper, Rival should be able to take this one.
Opposite ends of the tail for sure. Rival higher in the standings compared to Luminosity. LG struggling right now at 0-5 with a -12 plus minus, whereas Rival thriving at 4-1, only losing to Dignitas way back when in week 2.
And that's a tough loss to take. I mean, everyone has been losing to Dignitas, except for one squad. The Renegades coming from nowhere, able to come in 3-0 and take out some top teams. So Renegades right now looking like a bar that everyone else should be comparing themselves to. But like you said, we should be focusing in on these two teams, LG and Rival, for this very first match. And there's a lot to be dissected between these two. I think there's a couple key matchups that are happening here. But if we just talk about Rival in general and how well they've looked, I did not think they would be this good this fast. I thought they had a chance to be a top team, but PandaCat has really made the mid lane his own so much faster than I could have expected.
He definitely feels comfortable going for different gods, different builds as well. I like his structure on the Zeus, being very aggressive with the Rod of Tahuti. He's been basically allowed this position with CaptainTwig in the jungle role.
Yeah.
And also whenever teamfights do break out, you got fineokay cleaning up whenever he's not casually getting those solo kills on his lane.
That's right. It makes your job, I think, a lot easier as that mid laner moving into that role when you have talented pieces on your squad like fineokay, like CaptainTwig. But I really just don't want to take much away from what PandaCat's been able to do, because a lot of people were coming into the mid lane. You know, we lost a lot of the top end coming into this one. Yaman comes to mind, and Baskin was in the middle lane there too, and a lot of those guys didn't come back. So there was room, you know, almost like a vacuum to move up and be that strong player, and I think PandaCat absolutely did it. But it'd be hard not to talk also about the kind of year that fineokay has had. I mean, this man has been an absolute monster, and he was getting a lot of hype for a while there, but I feel like it's kind of died down for a bit. He has not slowed down. He is still dominating in that lane. I mean, Toly, what have you seen from fineokay that's made him this strong?
I've seen Circuit, I've seen Hell, and then I've seen every other, you know, cookie cutter pick in that solo lane. fineokay doing it all. I think that his advantage is not only the off-ball picks, but his ability to take those losing matchups and kind of turn it on its head in the late game team fights. That's what really makes players just stand out outside. It's not how you necessarily win a winning matchup, but how you prevent losing a losing matchup.
You're exactly right. If you can still be in a position to contribute for your team, even if they can't afford to prioritize you, maybe in picks and bans or in terms of the jungle's presence on that side, can you still be relevant throughout that match and contribute? And fineokay has done exactly that, whether or not he's been the focus of what his team is doing. And I think that his matchup in Xaliea is going to be key in this one, because for what I saw yesterday, Xaliea and Oceans were the only ones who really like they were making any kind of plays for LG. So if fineokay can keep Xaliea down and take away one of the only things they were doing well, it's going to be real tough for LG to win.
Yeah, with how often Xaliea plays Guardians or just more passive gods in that solo lane, I think fineokay is going to have a field day in that matchup, especially if CaptainTwig is going to assist in the matters with an aggressive jungler. That's something that yesterday that Pittsburgh Knights did very well, was in that third game, Adapting finally did decide to rotate in game number 3 on the Arachne, completely catching Xaliea off guard. And I think Rival are going to look back at that set yesterday, or they have already, and going to look for ways that they can also do what PK did a little bit.
Maybe try and see if they can find some opportunities over there in that soul lane to get some punish. But we don't have to wonder too much what's going on in the heads of Rival and everybody over there on that squad. We actually have an interview with Arkkyl lined up. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tom Battinger here, next to Kenny, next to Arkkyl, the ADC 4-team Rival. You guys have been pretty successful, ups and downs. What's the general feeling going into this match today?
The general feeling is just going to be easy. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Luminosity, I mean, like you said, probably not the toughest day on the field for you guys, at least that's the mentality. Or is there a specific game plan that you have, or is it just go out there and play SMITE?
Yeah, I think we're just going to pick good guys and rip the map.
Sounds good. That's what we're looking for, just cleaning it up, man. Nice and simple here on the Rival side. Back to you.
Thanks, Tom. I like that strategy too of pick good gods.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
I think that would probably help. Yeah, instead of picking bad gods, I would pick good ones.
Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like the bad ones.
I trust Arkkyl though and the rest of Rival to certainly have a game plan going on, and that might even be a bit of a mislead. You know, I am the correspondent for them. I talk to the Rival guys a lot, and when PolarBearMike was telling me, Selena was telling me a little bit, that they actually are looking to go kind of outside of the box. So they might not be going right down the middle with some of that good stuff. They might be willing to experiment, especially in a match you're expected to win, and kind of see if they can try out some other stuff outside the meta.
Yeah, I even asked Slaney in the hallway as I was walking here. I'm like, all right, so we're going to see anything spicy today? He wouldn't give me any details, but he did say, yeah, watch out for some of these oddball picks. And up against LG, that also does a lot of these oddball picks, you got to fight fire with fire.
You certainly can. That's one thing that I think can help out with LG. Normally, what works for them is that they are able to play the early game pretty well because you're not always used to what it is that they're doing, and it helps them at least get that game 1 victory. Doesn't always work throughout the set, or to be fair, it has not worked throughout the set for them. But I think they might run into some trouble here. But if they're going to do well, maybe it's got something to do with this Xaliea guy. I talked earlier about how this matchup between him and fineokay was going to be critical, and I think that's true. As much as he can play those Guardians, yesterday he played the Finner. It's exactly what was going. Good replay there. And that was some aggression. He got some rotations from molluskk. They were trying to see if they could get some bully kills over there in the solo lane. It worked out a little bit, but it didn't quite transition to the late game. But I like the idea that they're willing to try some stuff that not everyone else is doing.
That's true. Xaliea, not really known for too much Fenrir outside of Season 2, where he played actually a lot of Warriors back then, straying away from it in Season 3 and upwards. It's going to be important for Xaliea to survive the early aggressive onslaught out of Rival today between not only fineokay, but maybe CaptainTwig. If he can do that, then whatever god he's playing is normally going to be that team fighting god. But not only how he plays those Guardians is how he builds those Guardians, right? He's building like Pythagoras piece.
You're right,
He's going for these utility style builds, Gem of Isolation as well. Not too much protections in his build, but he's definitely making it work in these very specific scenarios once he starts rotating.
You're right. There's definitely some potential there. We might have to change how we talk about these solo lane matchups, because what we see more than anything nowadays is the 2v2, but it's the supports over there, right? So how well is Xaliea and Kiki going to line up against fineokay and PolarBearMike, right? How's that matchup going to go? And on paper, I'm pretty heavily favoring the ones with fineokay and PolarBearMike on it. I mean, Kiki really struggled yesterday. I think that's the only way to say it. He was able to get bullied a lot, so that could be particularly important, is making sure that he has a little bit better, at least of an early game, to try and still be relevant for his team later. But hey, we speak about Kiki, and apparently they're on the same wavelength. They've got him standing by for the interview.
Hey, what's up, guys? Next to KikiSoCheeky here, repping the LG. And on this side of the world, you guys have had a couple of, struggles in the regular season going up against Rival. What's the general game plan here?
To not lose early game and try to play some team fights, I'd say.
All right. Doesn't sound too confident there. Talk to me about your mindset heading into this match.
We just got to draft better. We got to probably pick some Warriors, play the meta a little.
All right, that works. We've seen you guys kind of be a little creative, so you said play the meta. Are you guys going to come all the way back to some, standard picks, or are we still going to see some LG flavor?
Well, if we win a game, we might, go a little wonky, but we'll try to keep it normal for now.
Well, we want to see the wonky, so we're going to root for the win. Good luck your next game. Back to you.
I like the idea there. Kiki might have been a little low level with it for us. Hey, we're going to try and win the early game. We're going to try and, maybe pick meta stuff. But I think he's actually got a decent point. They really never got to have, in all 3 matches that we saw yesterday, an even, late game team fight ever. Even a mid game team fight, I don't think they were on even footing. So I think he's right. If they can kind of just tread water through the early game, I don't even mean win it, just be close, maybe they'll have a better chance.
I'm specifically remembering LG versus PK yesterday, game 1, when Deathwalker invades, but then the Stagger invade Emilzy following up on the Fafnir after the fact 5 seconds later. The problem was that Xaliea was playing Terra, so he couldn't make that rotation, and the way LG played around that, it was like, oh, it's only in Osiris, we're going to still confirm our own speed buff, not really deal with them. But now, if that was a Warrior for Xaliea, he would make that rotation, kind of peel Deathwalker away. So that's why I think Kiki says, play the Warriors, play the meta.
You're exactly right. That was molluskk, I think, who committed the Deathbane there, secured the camp, and then didn't have a way to get back out. Exactly. You're exactly right. So maybe having some Warriors, like you said, could alleviate that exact type of pressure moment. We'll see if that's where Xaliea wants to go here in this next matchup, as right off the gate, LG going to be the first pick. They ban away the Habwa, Rival banning away the Merlin. That makes sense. You don't want any of these strong picks getting over there. I imagine we'll see the likes of Achilles, maybe even King Arthur or something like that, a bit banned away as well. But LG don't always ban the normal stuff, so we might see some spicy stuff.
Yeah, definitely expecting Achilles or Arthur to go through here, because there's always going to be the Jing ways potentially.
Sure.
Xaliea not seeing much popularity recently. Still going to be having the different style between Oceans and Joshy. Kind of curious to see how he kind of transitions in the mid lane, because Joshy didn't super impress me yesterday between his 2 Poseidon games. A little bit better in Game 3 on the Raijin, so maybe that could be a priority pick.
Maybe so, but yeah, I would even go a little bit further to say that I thought that Oceans maybe looked better than he used to, but Joshy looked significantly worse, and I don't know if that trade works for the team. Maybe there's some other element to it behind the scenes that they really like about that we'll get to see in action. As the Jing and the Achilles are banned, that doesn't mean Freya still available if that wants to be prioritized for these teams as well. A lot of good stuff that's still out there as Rival take a bit of an eye towards that dual lane. Maybe they don't want to leave anything for Oceans to feel comfortable with in particular over there in that Hunter position.
Yeah, you could see Mollusk's face is like, please pick this god. It's like as Osiris gets first pick. Now, it was interesting because Arthur is available, so that could have been first pick, but then also Sarkett is another popular god for not only Mollusk, but Rival. Like, PBM could play that in the support position if they really wanted to, so giving up that pick could come back to haunt them, but knowing Rival on the solo side, fineokay was expecting probably the King Arthur snap pick. Leaving that open now, he has to deal with a very aggressive Xaliea.
Freya comes through, though, for Rival, and this makes a ton of sense to me. She's so much pressure in the dual lane, and we haven't even gotten to talk too much about the Arkkyl and Ocean specific matchup over there in the dual lane and how important that's going to be, because Oceans did look, I think, like the best player for LG yesterday, but it's not going to be very easy for him up against Arkkyl. He will be looking for pressure, especially with this Freya, and without the Jing one of the best picks into it's not even there.
That's true. Terra is an interesting pick when you're pairing that up with the Freya, because one of Freya's counters is lockdown. Terra has a lot of that.
Sure.
I remember PandaCat, one instance in Season 3, got absolutely destroyed when he came back after vacation one day, locks in a Freya, and then he had to deal with the Terra and got absolutely abused. So making sure that Rival don't have to experience that same nightmare. And that would be interesting to see if LG actually does lock in those 2 gods between the Hell and the Muzen, knowing that there's no gap closing ability. So if they get rooted, stunned, they're kind of dead to rights there.
They could definitely be in some trouble. They're locking 2 picks that are rather immobile, but are pretty good at surviving in other ways. A Muzen, the way he wants to fight you is he'll just blow you up, especially if you're by yourself. Hell oftentimes can sustain or cleanse through whatever control you're going for. They've picked up Osiris themselves, a pretty good backline diver to punish picks exactly like this, and has the anti-heal, so it's good they have that on their side. But I mean, things like Robin are certainly still things you got to be worried about if they went with those picks, but it looks like not the Hell. They're going to go Erlang, Shen, and Muzen.
A Muzen makes a lot of sense. The cripple, very impactful against the Terra. You want to make sure that you shut down her combo potential. Also, King Arthur is going to get crippled by the Stinger, but the problem is you only have 1 Stinger. Even if it is like an 80% cooldown upon picking it back up,
sure,
you're not going to necessarily have it ready for both targets. But I love the Erlang Shen pick now, because Rival were looking for more aggression as well.
I appreciate the honesty from Kiki, though, in the interview, right? Maybe some warriors, he says, and then, yeah, they snap up 2 of them right away. So clearly that the game plan was absolutely there, though I imagine the Osiris is the one that'll actually be the tanky one for Xaliea, and very likely then we'll see Erlang in the jungle. Maybe even though for Kiki, there's a chance he likes to play non-traditional stuff in that spot, so there could be some flex potential there, but you already hit the nail on the head. This King Arthur coming through for fineokay, as if he hasn't already made a ton of highlight reel plays. Now we're going to give him a very, very strong pick in King Arthur.
Yeah, I think that whoever's playing the Muzen needs to be very accurate on that Stinger, because fineokay's intentions is to dive that backline in any means necessary. Try to get off his full combo, build those stacks of damage mitigation, make sure that he can get the Excalibur's Wrath, get the Muzen out of these team fights. So we're going to need to see a very defensive support out of KikiSoCheeky. I want to see Erlang Shen being played by Mollusk. He needs to be hyper-aggressive, maybe even pick up a Gep or even a Khepri for LG.
This is interesting. Rival banning away the Zeus and the Poseidon here, and I would have thought the Muzen would have more likely been for Joshy in the middle lane, but maybe they thought there was a chance that Oceans could run Poseidon in the long lane, so ban this one out. So either gambling that the Muzen is then for Oceans in the long lane, or that these are picks that still could have been picked up by Oceans and not given over to Joshy. So they're taking care of 2 mages with that slot and grabbing the Batz. They now add a great bit of control to go along with that Terra, and they have plenty of follow-up from that Freya. Starting to get a little scary.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed by Joshy's Poseidon performance, so I wasn't too worried.
You wouldn't
to
abandon.
see- Yeah, I wouldn't abandon the Poseidon. Zeus makes a lot of sense because of how clumped up these team fights are going to be out of Rival. Batz, Terra, King Arthur. Yeah, I could see the respect Zeus ban. Maybe banning away the Alpwash would have been a little bit more effective, but something that LG was thriving in their previous victories, like 1-game victory over E United, 1-game victory over Dignitas, 1-game victory over Space Station Gaming, was this Ganesh-Zeus combination. But now, instead of the Zeus, they're going to lean on a different mid-mage.
Ganesha, then likely Raijin. This was the thing that Joshy at least looked the best on yesterday, though I don't
Yes.
think it's that difficult for it to look much better than his Poseidon. So it looks like Rival might have hit the nail on the head by taking this Zeus out. They very likely would have wanted that to go along with the Ganesh. That does also mean this Erlang Shen is almost certainly now for molluskk in the jungle as well, with this Ganesh locked in. That's got Kiki's name to me all over it.
Now, Ganesha is a good god in enabling offensive team fights. It has some peel mechanisms between the dash knock-up and being able to silence, but it's not the most defensive support god. Like, I'm looking at Kepri, I'm looking at Geb, Sylvanas maybe even as well. And in a world where you have to keep a Muzen alive against a King Arthur, I'm a little worried if LG aren't the ones starting the team fights.
It can be tough. I know Jeff Hinlow was talking to me one time about why he likes Ganesh, and that Dharmic Pillars kind of lets you put it on the back end of the fight to stop them from disengaging, but you can still kind of stay near your carries and still peel there some too, so he can kind of do both jobs a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to work up against this composition from a Rival. Like you said, they can be a bit all in and clumped up. You might never get that opportunity to use it in that way, or at least not the Dharmic Pillars.
Especially when there's going to be such a chaotic fight of a fear no evil that you have to worry about. And I see the one-side aspect of it. Wow, PandaCat is feeling himself there. I love it too. Yeah, Ganesh is also good against Terra. You can silence out the double dash. But Janus and Batz, I think if anyone's starting the team fights, it's going to be Rival.
Yeah, and this is the kind of composition that a team like Rival thrives in. It's one where coordination and being able to time multiple abilities and weave throughout the fight is going to be key. That's exactly what Rival's good at. I still think that even compared to Dignitas, they're the best team at playing as 5 gods instead of, or 5 all at once, like one big team cooldown instead of 5 individuals. I think this is the composition that can absolutely make that work.
Something that I do like from LG is their 2v2 solo support start. Osiris, Ganesh, a little bit stronger than the Arthur Terra. So if that's something that LG execute correctly, they could maybe gain an advantage in that solo side.
That's a good point, totally. We'll get a chance to see how that start works out for LG before too long. LG and Rival, game number 1. Let's get this one over to the casters.
Thanks so much, Finch and Totally. Joining me on the cast is going to be Aggro Bailey, and today it's going to be an interesting matchup. LG still looking for wins. Rival looking to continue the form we've seen out of them.
Yeah, look, I mean, LG got crushed yesterday. It just did not look good for them. So let's see what they learned during that experience. I mean, Rival is no easier than what the Pittsburgh Knights were. If anything, they might even be a little bit harder because Rival is one of the best teams in the league right now, though I guess PK is as well.
And Renegades, and Dig.
Yeah, it's tough right now, man.
There's too many teams.
The SPL's really good right now, and Luminosity has not been able to keep up so far. So they did this role swap. Joshy over to mid lane. He did not look good yesterday, but on the bright side, Oceans did in the ADC. So maybe
they got 2 ADCs.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's what it feels like.
Kind of a squad that Joshy was kind of on when he was on Death Panther and the old roster. They had quite a lot of Hunter players coming through, but he's playing the Mage. This time, the Raijin going to be rushing the Book of Toph start here. Same can be said for PandaCat on the Janus. Composition-wise, Ryan looks like a very teamfight-esque orientation from Rival. And to be extent, same can be said for LG.
LG's teamfight is pretty good as well. I mean, they've got plenty of AoE control, good damage in the AoE as well. So yeah, they can definitely teamfight, but I think they can pick a little bit better than Rival can. I mean, you're basically relying on Fear No Evil, and the fact that molluskk went for no purification beads at level 1 is quite the risk against this comp from Rival, because normally, I was going to say, as long as you have beads, you can't really get picked that easily.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have them now.
Well, that damage that Arkkyl just put out onto Kiki did cause a bit of a problem, because Kiki's still going to go for the purple, but Twig could potentially get a bit of damage off here. And just by him showing up, it was good enough for him to secure the on purple on the left-hand side and make sure not too much experience is lost in the jungle.
Good rotation over from Twig, but a good ward from Kiki ended up spotting that out. You can see the blue ward sitting between the tier 1 and tier 2 tower in the mid lane. That's really just there to see exactly where Twig is going. If he's going to stay on the right-hand side, he won't show up on that ward. But a lot of junglers are crossing underneath right now in that exact area in order to get red and get purple buff XP for them. So smart ward by LG. They get the minis, still gets an advantage for their lane pressure. They just don't get the ultimate reward.
Arthur up against Osiris here, and to match it, we'll see a little bit more. Osiris is starting to climb in terms of ranking in the SPL, picks up a little bit more often. And obviously King Arthur is still on that ban list, but starting to slip a little bit into play now.
King Arthur you'll see from time to time for sure, is now PBM actually dead. That's first blood. PandaCat even has to use the purification beads. Kiki was looking for him underneath the tower. PBM still only level 1. Impossible for him to get away there.
Yeah, Love says well that Janus actually used the beads. PandaCat used the beads to get away, and then Sprint was also used by PolarBearMike, and after that, another good relic situation for LG. This is a great start for them in the grand scheme of things. First blood going to the mid laner too.
Especially if you're going to start with the blink up against the Hun Batz, you need to utilize it early, and that was what set up this kill, was mollusk's blink on that right side mid heartbeat. PBM still only level 1 means that he has to be very, very careful, though it was only a couple creeps from level 2. Probably why they were trying so hard to get those right side mid harpies. But if you're gonna take the risk of no beads versus Hun Batz, you best put that to use early.
Left-hand side, Arkkyl training with Oceans, but at the same time, molluskk is invading the speed buff of CaptainTwig right about now, taking a trade with him. Who's going to get the buff is the question. Answer will be molluskk, but he won't stick around to secure it. Instead,
body block.
He'll get minked into a wall. PandaCat turns up. Unstable Vortex is good. The dash after the fact, and PandaCat gets credit for the kill.
And now Kiki has sacrificed himself. That's one of those situations where you know that molluskk is making a risky play. He's making a risky invade. Let him do it by himself. But yes, he gets the buff. It's just a great play from PBM to wall off his escape in that position and then guarantee that kill. No reason for Kiki to come in. Maybe you use the shell and then try and dash away, but to use the shell and dash in was optimistic, to say the least.
It's definitely that support mentality, though, where you try and sacrifice yourself for a teammate. You get used to it after a while, and sometimes it's just second nature, even if it's a bad call in the first place, because people will make mistakes, and sometimes you've got to realize whether it's worth saving them or not.
Exactly, yeah. You have to pick your battles, basically, as the support. And dying for your jungler, usually a good thing. When your jungler's dead no matter what, not really worth your time.
Ganesha, though, seen quite a rise in play overall in this year. And is that because of the change to the ultimate and how effective it is?
Well, it's not just that. It's that we did the change to his Ohm as well, got magical protections during that channel instead of just physical. And I think that certainly helped for sure. But I think people are just kind of realizing the playmaking potential a god like Ganesha has. A lot of supports, you know, you just kind of go about your business, do your job, same sort of stuff. Ganesha is one of the most flexible kits, I think, among the Guardians. Plus, Turn of Fate is just a really good ability, his first ability, that doesn't get enough credit.
Molluskk blinking on the left-hand side after respawning, and a beautiful damage burst from him and Oceans combining. Takes down Arkkyl on this left-hand side. The banish was good, but at the same time, Oceans was also collapsing. Great play from Molluskk after just dying, too.
You really need to use that ultimate right away if you're Arkkyl, if you want to survive that gank. And even then, I'm not sure you do from that position. So the fact that he loses the ultimate certainly feels bad, but that was just a well-done gank by Molluskk. Not a lot you can do as Freya in that position. There is a ward there, it looks like, right where Molluskk came, but maybe Molluskk came from underneath instead of up high, and that's why Arkkyl didn't spot him.
A little bit sloppy from Rival so far, but same can be said for LG. It's a little bit better from LG overall, though, as they're still tied up and with a decent lead so far. They're looking for a pick on Mike here. Ultimate out from molluskk took over the wall with the Fear No Evil. Won't stop the death of Mike, but they will at least take down Kiki. He's trying to get through the portal and does, but can he keep running?
There's a threshold there. Joshy, you can tell, wants to jump in, but decides against it. 1-for-1, support for support. You got CaptainTwig's beads as well, so that's a decent win, I think, for Luminosity. The fact that you're keeping Mike at level 4 is a win, so that he's not able to stake on the map and get as much farm as he really needs right now.
Molluskk now looking at the blue buff on this side. I think fineokay may have spotted that on the rotation, but he's still coming in. Comes Molluskk, but there's a 3-man rotation from LG, and fineokay turns around and introduces him to Excalibur. And after the fact, Twig still going in for the kill. Even with the tether, it's not going to be enough to stop Twig taking down Molluskk.
Now Xaliea is going to try and go in on this. Sprint used, and now Xaliea has no way to get away, but won't need it because he's got that Osiris passive with Kiki in tow. It's enough to get the ultimate, the relic out rather from PBM, so that's actually a win for Xaliea. I don't think Twig is really in very much danger from that spot.
No, not particularly. But again, Molluskk is just on the rampage. Like, speed buff invade, fighting a death. Left-hand side, fighting a death. Not necessarily for him, but a death or every single time he's turned up. Yeah. Then that blue buff one, it definitely looked like, you know, fineokay saw him, and Molluskk, in my opinion, should be able to spot that he was spotted himself.
Yeah, look, Molluskk has 1 speed.
Go.
It's really fast. I mean, he's getting in there. There's no doubt about that, and that's caused problems from Luminosity. It's also won them games where molluskk gets really ahead and is able to snowball effectively. But I don't think it's a coincidence that those games for molluskk were very early on in the season. I think that as teams have watched tape on LG and the way that they play,
they know where it's coming from.
They know what's happening. You know, it's not a surprise when molluskk is on your speed or your blue. Even if it isn't a particularly good fight, teams are just prepared for it now, and I think that's a big reason why not just LG, but molluskk.
There's a blink, there's an ult, and there's another ult followed up with the Dharmic Pillars. PolarBearMike going to sit inside the Dharmic Pillars to take as little damage as possible, respecting the fact that he pops his ult himself, so it won't take too much damage. You can still sustain back up. molluskk still trying to make it happen, but the one thing I'm liking, though, is I want to see molluskk focus on Oceans and Joshy, getting them ahead, getting them these leads, giving them the kills.
I think Oceans is the one as Joshy actually goes through the portal. No beads for him, nice and patient. PandaCat didn't have the follow-up anyways. But I agree, you want to really facilitate your side laners so that even if you do fall behind, you're playing a setup character for the most part anyways in Erlang Shen. And don't worry too much about this Janus. I mean, it's going to be harder to kill PandaCat than it will be to kill the Freya on the left-hand side. I liked molluskk going over there early on, and I think that a return could prove very fruitful.
And you can see the members of Rival that have died so far is just the duo lane. Obviously, Mike's not really sitting around there at the moment on that support play, but they're the ones that have been taken out. AMC full boots online for Oceans there, mid lane boots online for Joshy, and PandaCat a little bit further behind on those, so it shows a bit of a gold situation. Could be just the fact Panda's not based yet.
No, the net worth, I mean, 400 gold up for Joshy. That first blood, a big reason for that. So getting the first blood gets him his boots first, and that's why Luminosity tried to take a fight in the mid lane. They got PandaCat's beats for it. It cost them a couple ultimates.
Took the mid lane with a fineokay onto KikiSoCheeky, and Kiki will attempt to knock someone up, but in doing so, just keeps himself in place. He wasn't going to get away there at that point. Nice pick from Rival on the rotation, and now Panda getting aggressive, looking for that unstable vortex on Joshy. Could have been death there if he did connect.
Could have been. I think he needed a double hit from that position, and would have been a tough one to get without boots done. Doesn't have as much power as you think, but Twig's Fear No Evil continues to be fruitful. He's been a part of every single kill so far for Rival. And that's no coincidence. This whole composition is built around that Fear No Evil and how much displacement it can provide.
Once upon a time, Batz was not liked at LAN. It was funny, like all the games now at LAN, and everyone's going back to him again. One of the reasons for that is because, you know, the Fear No Evil, you've got a bit more of a chance of escaping it with the beads or knowing it's coming.
Sure, but at the same time, I think that with more LAN play, players have gotten more used to finding opportunities where it's still good, regardless of that counterplay opportunity. I mean, there, Kiki has no purification beads, so it doesn't matter, or CC immunity in the kit at all, so it doesn't matter if he knows it's coming, it's going to happen. Same could be said for Joshy. Maybe he pops the Taiko drums, but you're kind of okay with that.
Oh, should I make him play mid on PandaCat? Great knock-up after the fact, and Panda will slip through the net, but he goes right towards Kiki, and Kiki will make sure molluskk gets himself on the board with a nice little bit of damage.
And that was all set up by the initial engage a couple minutes ago by molluskk, where he blink taunted both PBM and PandaCat, got his purification beads. Panda had beads coming up in just a few seconds. Look, they're already up before it was time for him to respawn, but good identification by molluskk, and again, no matter how many deaths you might take in the early game, he's always willing to keep the foot on the gas pedal, and I like that in most circumstances, though. You gotta be wary sometimes of where that'll get you.
I think the problem is when you get to that mid-late stage of the game, that sort of pace, that sort of initiation speed can come back to haunt you a little bit because you're not going to get the kill as quick as you were hoping for.
Exactly, and the enemy team has way more damage. You can't just sit there in front line. And the big thing for me with molluskk has been his fight selection. Just putting himself in bad spots where there's low percentage fights is another one to say.
It's not a big win, this Pyromancer, but it's going to be a good win for LG. Just realizing there's an opportunity on the map. fineokay didn't know what was going on. And Arkkyl got very upset about that Pyromancer going down and has made sure he'll get something somewhere.
Now it's Xaliea who has to ult away. PandaCat nearly ran him over with that through space and time, but fineokay still wants it.
Xaliea under the tower, trying to live as long as possible, avoids the unstable vortex, but can't avoid the King Arthur this time round. Now Kiki in an awkward spot, ult pop by Mike, Fear No Evil 2, and the elephant will fall in the jungle eventually. As Rival turn it around, they turn up the heat themselves, so to speak, after that Pyromancer.
Great fight from Rival. They can assume that something was used in order to kill that Pyromancer as quickly as it went down. Arkkyl doesn't have his Hasten Ring proc, but level 12 going to try and bully Joshy off of the red buff. And looks like he will be successful in doing so.
Yeah, just for now, because Joshy just doing it. Basically, more than anything, Arkkyl did a great job of just hanging around, waiting for his teammates to rotate in and maybe get a collapse. Gold Fury is available here as Rival rotate back towards it. Health pools are pretty decent, but they're going to be respectful and not make an attempt here.
Yeah, I think they probably could have, but they probably got a decent amount of gold in hand from that last engagement, so you want to kind of back and spend that a little bit.
Guess it's with Freya not a traditional hunter being one of the reasons too, right? For the clear.
I mean, Freya does a lot of damage to objectives still, especially when she can just stand in melee range, get that extra bonus damage, and kind of chill. I don't think that was the real issue. They probably just didn't know exactly where, if Joshy was going to back, if molluskk was still playing on backing, all that.
molluskk gets an all off on fineokay, but it is a King Arthur after all. Multiple ults being used here. The drums of war coming into play. The great silence actually from the corner from Kiki. And then after the fight, Dharmic Pillars to slow down the re-aggression. A nice pick for LG.
Ganesh, pretty decent against King Arthur. He wants to do a lot of stuff in a longer period of time. It's an extended kit, I would say, and good job trying to shut it down.
And you saw one of the passives of Osiris come into play there. Funny enough, the Terra walls so far this game have been destroyed by Ganesh.
Yep.
And also passed through by Osiris.
Yeah, and the one person who can't, Shen, got crushed by it. PBM's been having the right idea.
Arkkyl getting pressure by Oceans and expecting a good fight for himself, but molluskk was here on the rotation too. Turtle Form comes into play there to absorb some damage. Arkkyl not done, but after the banish, he may be! And he is now. Oceans cooked him with the stinger at the tail end. Arkkyl was definitely feeling confident there.
Yeah, he was feeling it for sure, but Oceans really puts him in his place. Great ultimate from him.
The stinger damage, man. Everyone, it's
Real
still
good.
Underestimated at how much that really does chunk for.
It's insane. AMC, if you haven't been playing him recently, you've been missing out. This god is nuts at this point, and just feels like he does so much damage. He's safer than you give him credit for because of the hive movement speed. It looks like Ocean's actually leveling the honey over the hives. Not my preferred style. I definitely think that leveling the hive second is where I like it, but it's personal preference.
Flying in the jungle at the moment, but a pull coming through. Actually bought molluskk a bit of time, and then he gets an all-off in response. CaptainTwig forced to beads. Gold Fury goes to Luminosity too. molluskk takes down PandaCat, and hello, we've got ourselves a game. LG are looking good. Xaliea going in now onto 2 targets.
This is classic LG. They look good in every game one.
Hey, let me
basically.
enjoy it.
Okay, you
Let
can enjoy
the
it.
fans enjoy it too.
No, it is enjoyable. You can expect that game one for Luminosity will usually be very fun to watch because they usually turn up in those games. I think their set against PK yesterday was the first time they lost a game one.
Are you trying to say like they're more of an emotional team of like when they start to lose, it just gets worse and worse?
I think it's partly that. I think it's partly that their play style is very unique in that it takes time for teams to get used to playing against them every time you load in against Luminosity, and they take advantage of that pretty well in game one usually and can exploit the fact that you aren't ready for what they're throwing at you. I also think that teams tend to not be as worried about a team like Luminosity and don't come in with as much intensity as they would against some of the top-end teams, and LG, to their credit, are usually very good at punishing those teams.
They basically get some respect is what you're after.
Yeah.
More than anything else at this stage. Thorns picked up though for Xaliea in the solo lane here. Interesting to see that. Guess this is quite a bit of burst, so if you can time those Thorns nicely, it'll be useful. Beats now online for molluskk as well. And no shells in the mid lanes this time. It's Aegis for both of those characters.
Twigs rotating underneath. Xaliea does have his ultimate, so he can react in time to that Fear No Evil, but molluskk actually here as well.
Yeah, same time as the blue buff spawns, probably one of the reasons for that. So also then smash, and the buff is down, but Twig jumped to the monkey and got out of the mink, and the mink's now on the run. Won't escape that. That was just a bounce more than anything else. Beautiful.
Great bounce and another great wall from Mike, man. He is on point with these Terra walls. I think one of the hardest characters to play optimally. When we talk about some of the hardest characters in the game, I don't think Terra gets enough credit.
No, I completely agree with that. Stinger on Arkkyl though, and Arkkyl trying to walk away with that Stinger. Bad news is Josh is behind him, has 2 ult, but Joshy should be able to get the kill on landing. He's just going to find 1 drum, and it was that one.
Nicely done. So you get 1 for 1 across the map. Arkkyl has been playing really aggressively so far, and there's been a lot of help for Oceans to try and make sure that he's comfortable in that lane, but Oceans has done his part as well.
Pressure in the mid lane now, though, after you saw the rotation out to the left-hand side from Joshy. He loses his Tier 1 tower because of it. Good punish there from Rival overall. And as you can see, all the Tier 1 towers are down on LG's side, so even though LG seem to be scrapping quite well, Rival are doing okay when it comes to the bigger name objectives.
Yes, they're setting themselves up for later game success for sure. The big thing, though, for Luminosity is that means that there's extra gold in the towers that they can recuperate pretty quickly in this game. Whereas Rival, they've already gotten 1,500 gold that they can't get again. 500 gold per tier 1 tower. Whereas Luminosity still has that on the table.
Ironman's getting low, but fineokay is on the way. Not sure how good the secure will be. He makes a small attempt towards the tail end, but that'll be that. Big group of 3 members of Rival in the mid lane. Does that space and time just fire? No, just a normal pole.
Okay, I was gonna say, I thought he was
like
coming
it, right?
through.
Yeah.
But PandaCat low on mana. He's not gonna be able to stay in the fight super long. He doesn't have great MP5 with this build. It's just a big mana pool in general, not mana regen. And so as Janus, you're spamming your portal, your threshold all the time. You're gonna run out of mana even with a big mana pool.
Well, right now, all the mid objectives off the table. Firegiant is available, but not really being able to be looked at just yet. So LG will be trying to just farm their own jungle, try and get a bit of control here. But as you can see by the ward placement so far, Rival are doing a very good job of locking down this right-hand side and trying to keep an eye on Arkkyl now on the left with a couple more wards too.
Yeah, the problem now for LG is fineokay not going to waste any time. Blinks in on a Joshy. Ultimate was there from PandaCat as well for follow-up, but they don't finish him yet.
Joshy's still alive, but Arkkyl turned up just when he needed to with the hasten ring. Couple of shots in the back of the head, and molluskk will fall too. And with 2 members down, they can turn their attention to potentially this left-hand side.
Ocean was trying to catch Twig with that stinger because he knew that Kiki had vision on him. Xalia's going to teleport in. PandaCat's kind of low, but I don't know if he's going to get caught.
Xalia's still going for the play. The pole is available, and PandaCat will slip the noose for now. However, Xaliea in a bit of an awkward position, surrounded by all the other members of Rival. Luckily enough, he got Kiki in support, but it could be Kiki that ends up going down to make sure his solo laner gets away.
Kiki in the same position as earlier. fineokay does get that last hit. And what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted by the engage was that it looks okay for Luminosity until you realize that both fineokay and CaptainTwig were 3 levels above their opposition, and as soon as Rival starts to group up, it was going to be a real problem for Luminosity. What happens? fineokay, level 1,000,000 in comparison to everybody else, blinks in and is able to make a big play and start the fight off onto Joshy and get the fight going in Rival's favor.
fineokay 3-1-3. He's been talked about a lot for the past, 6 months easily, about how his performances have been so good, and he's arguably one of the best solo laners there now. Xaliea was tanking up the Gold Fury momentarily, and now he's going to be back in base again. Nice little play from Rival to keep the aggression going. And fineokay's going to try and go for another counter. Oceans. His Aegis is buying him some time. Not enough to survive, though. 2 members dead on LG again. Rival Monkey Toss from Twig is beautiful. We get once more.
Ultimate from Kiki's going to lock in a couple. PandaCat going to walk away as Joshy's Taiko drums do not get a whole lot for LG. Mike's still very healthy, but that's kind of it as far as the health department.
Not gonna lie, Joshy moving to the mid lane. He looks okay this game so far. Like, I'm not too upset with him.
Yeah,
he's making rotations. He's trying to get the damage out. He's realizing when to go in and when not to for sometimes.
This has been his best mid game for sure. Yesterday was rough. The Poseidon in a lot of those games was not the call, but this game's certainly looking a lot better for sure.
Yeah, a little bit better from there. Same can be said that. Well, I mean, Ocean's playing back to the AD carry again. The switches around have been interesting to see how it continues on. But at the moment, we're about 4,000 in the lead for Rival now. And after that, Fury just went down. We'll see what they can do next. That was a Primal as well, I believe. So
it was.
A little bit of ease at killing the Fire Giant now.
And that's exactly what you want when you're in this type of position for Rival. I think that a Primal Fury at this point in the game is probably the most valuable. Maybe you want the extra gold lead that a regular Gold Fury could provide, but I would take the little bit of golden XP and then a buff that is going to really matter later on, especially in a game like this where it may end up going a little bit longer if LG is able to stall. If you can get multiple Primal Fury buffs, the Enhanced Fire Giant doesn't feel like much of a challenge at all.
Rival hunting towards the mid lane tier 2 tower, and Kiki got around behind, drops the Darming Pillars, but didn't really find him as well as he was hoping to. Kiki now gets a bit of pressure onto him from Arkkyl as well, and finally gets away, but the Fear Weaver from CaptainTwig initiates the full-on fight.
Xalia's got to ult away. Arkkyl won't be able to finish him with that Valkyrie's discretion, but that ultimate healing from PolarBearMike, Rival won't be too weak from this position. They could keep the siege going if they wanted to.
Yeah, they did steal the speed buff as well, so, you know, a result is good than any, just a bit more experience away. Right inside Arkkyl, going to push into the tier 2 tower, rotation out from LG. Left hand side, though, LG just going to shore up their buffs. Xaliea on CaptainTwig. I kind of like Xaliea on Batz. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's not bad. My big concern is that there's already so much anti-heal for Luminosity. I mean, they've got a Pestilence on Xaliea, a Brawler's Beatstick on Molluskk, and a Divine Ruin on Joshy. You're just not going to get that much healing anymore from that. If they aren't building anti-heal, there's no innate healer on your team, then I agree. I think it can make a lot of sense. It's CDR, it's a little bit of sustain, it's good power. You can really make some plays with it. But when there's already so much anti-heal being built, you're just not getting enough value from the lifesteal, I don't think.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. The lowest crown, though, for PolarBearMike will definitely help out with those protections for his team. And plenty of pen online now for PandaCat in that mid lane. We'll see how that continues to work out as Arkkyl gets himself in a bit of an awkward position here. Has to use the Aegis, gets pinned on the Dharmic Pillars, and then the Lord of the Afterlife after the fact is going to take him down. Arkkyl did not have his ultimate throughout that. Soon after that, Twig's going to go down. LG on the aggressive again. And if that last Tycho jump would have hit, I think Arkkyl would have fallen there. Meanwhile, Xaliea knocked in the air by fineokay, and they're going to have to rely on fineokay to help out now.
fineokay going to get knocked up, though. He's got a little bit of sustain, silenced by Kiki, and a portal from PandaCat will bring him back to safety. Level 20 King Arthur, just too much sustain for LG to chunk through, even with that many members.
A little bit lackadaisical from Rival in some of the positions there, but at the same time, well played by LG to recognize there was windows. And they're not scared of the aggression. Kiki's the one person that I've saved from the support role. He pulls the trigger and he's up quicker than I've seen most.
He's all about it. And that's kind of the idea, I think, with Ganesh, is that you're not, it's very rare you're going to get this perfect ultimate where you're going to lock them down on the edge. Does it feel really good when you do it? Absolutely, but it's just not common enough to really worry about it. Use it early. You don't want to be caught with it towards the back end of the fight where its chance of getting value is even lower.
Yeah, I think that's one thing with like most abilities as well, like Kraken, for example, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for that sweet one that hits all 5 members and it's in the whirlpool so they can't escape it. Sometimes it's worth just blowing somebody up.
Yep.
Even if it is, you know, just one target, it can be useful.
Yes, the only time that I think ultimates are wasted or when someone was already dead and then you ult and kill a 10% health Terra. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Those aren't worth it.
They're killing blows. Kill secures, right?
Yeah, but you could have kill secured with a title surge at that rate. You know what I mean? It's things like that.
Yeah.
Those are the only really wasted ultimates in my mind. Securing buffs, sure, I'm in. I mean, there's a million ways to use your ultimates that aren't to hit all 5 members.
Funny enough, I think some of them, the ones that aren't CC immune, are even more free fire, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because the CC immunity can give you a reason to hold it now and again. Most of the ultimates that aren't, definitely a little bit more open. Mike going to get pinned in a bit of trouble here. Nice silence from Kiki to slow him down. And actually, Mike really needs some help soon. He's not going to get it in time. Twig finally turns up the Fino Evil. Space and time fired. And on the march comes the PandaCat and Arkkyl too. Twig's been buying a bit of time, gets a couple of ultimates out. Kiki's still diving, but the rest of LG have already left him.
Xaliea just gets chunked by Arkkyl. Twig, no ultimate, remember, but Arkkyl has one for himself. That'll set up fineokay for 1. fineokay will claim 2 with the Excalibur's Wrath.
The pick was good. I just think the over-aggression has really punished them now. Joshy does manage to dash away. fineokay doesn't want to give up just yet. Does fineokay have his blink still?
No, he just blinked. That he was looking for that overhand slam and just a little bit too far out of range. You're right. I mean, the kill onto PBM
was great.
Nicely done by LG. A lot of investment, though, in just a way of Tycho drums and molluskk right there with the ultimate as well, I believe. And then after the fact, they chase down CaptainTwig, and that just seals their death sentence.
I really do think LG needs to just have the shot calling. You know, I feel like there's definitely a split difference of opinions there, because Xaliea and Kiki were still under the tier 1 tower. The other members of LG had all ran back towards where the tier 1 would have been on the other side. That can't be happening.
No, that's on the damage dealers to say, hey, we can't be there with you. And we heard molluskk yesterday in the interview say that they moved Joshy over to mid because he's got better communication than Ocean's.
Space and time finds the left-hand side, looking for a quick pick onto Joshy. Joshy's going to get away. But same might not be said for molluskk. The damage was insane, but he did get a bit of a heal, and that is a very slow turtle, as you'd expect. And you think Joshy was out. Well, Arkkyl just wrapped around the back, and now molluskk will fall soon after.
Only a matter of time. Banish secures it. molluskk falls to Arkyl's double kill. And that's just, I mean, you thought that Rival was going to go for the Gold Fury. That's all PandaCat for sure, saying, no, this is a good, we can catch them off here. We can cut them out with that through space and time and undercut them so that they can't get away. Just kind of a bonus that he ended up hitting Joshy.
And now through the poor goes Panda again, hit Xaliea, and with that soul gem as well, get a nice little heal for himself. I think the one thing that LG do to every SPL team is give them a check at how good they can scrap. That's what it feels like to me.
They're going to fight. There's no doubt about that. They will fight you. It's just You have to be ready for it.
It's like old school boxing when there was no gloves. That's what it kind of feels like, you know? Backroom brawls going on.
Oh, yeah.
Middle Phoenix going to drop here for Rival now as they take that one down. Fire Giant obviously around their waist to help them do so. Gold Fury is available, but a full minion wave at the tier 2 Titan left will be where they focus first.
Now remember, there's no traditional Hunter here for Rival, so they don't have great tower damage. It's going to take them a little bit to get the Phoenixes. But it didn't take them long to get mid because the rest of LG was so pushed away. If LG's there and it's a full 5, I think LG does have a chance to defend some of these Phoenixes. Freya, not very good at shredding those structures.
No, not so far. Just keeping them on the player damage to see where the damage is coming from LG. And it really is Oceans and Joshy doing the most of the work there, and Osiris soon after. molluskk started to slip further down now after the early game. You saw the aggression and the consistent plays, but now it's more about farm than anything else and trying to get some positioning.
It's exactly what we said, right?
Yep.
I mean, Erlang Shen can really hit the gas pedal early on, not worry about it because he's got warrior-based stats and great damage and can really just out-trade you. At this point in the game, he's getting out-traded by most members of Rival. Maybe he could take some 1v1. I don't even think he can beat Twig. I mean, maybe he can. He can probably beat Twig with this build. Stone Cutting makes it so that you trade with autos pretty favorably. Problem is, now that Twig has Mantle of Discord, that's a lot of extra protection that you get.
And that Transcendence stacking up too, so a bit more power in that build to go with the Soul Eater as well. So see how that works out for Twig in this. No Bumbers Mass this game. Hurrah!
Not yet.
Not yet. fineokay blinksing ults onto molluskk. molluskk going to use his beads to get away and just about avoids the through space and time from PandaCat that arguably would have done a ton of damage with the fact there's not many protections on the side of molluskk.
No, not very few at all, but that's still an absolute win. I mean, yes, you use through space and time. I don't even count using Excalibur's Wrath because fineokay will have that up very soon. But now Twig's Blink Ultimate gets a guaranteed kill on the molluskk.
There's a middle lane Phoenix down, Twig's over here, and on the right-hand side, Xaliea is right now just trying to protect this one from the minions. But that means there's only 3 members on the left-hand side to defend. Rival here as a 5-man grouping now as Kiki's the lone person on the front lines. He gets put through a portal, drops the Dharmic Pillars though. Twig's dealing with Xaliea.
Kiki dashes away, needs to use both relics, and it still won't matter. Arkkyl finds him.
Xaliea now looking for another one. Phoenix is going to fall down here, and Rival have done the damage they were after, not only getting Kiki, but the Phoenix as well. They fall back into the jungle, and it's starting to go the same old way, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is...
I got excited, okay, and you put me down.
I'm sorry.
And you were right to put me down, but just let me enjoy those moments. You
You
know?
can still enjoy it.
Like, you can't, because it's like, you know, you just put a dampener on everything.
Well, look, maybe, you know, let's look at it this way. LG won all their game 1s before. Now they've started losing game 1s. Looks like they're going to lose this one. Maybe now that's game 2s that they're really good at.
That's true. That's true. And then if that starts changing, then it'll be game 3s. And if that starts changing, well, it can't be game 4s because we won't get that far, right?
Yeah, we're going to need some adjustments before we get to being good at game 4s.
Don't worry, script's coming. Script's coming.
Okay, good.
Everyone thinks it's over. It's never over.
It's never over.
21 kills for Rival in this game. To be fair, LG got off to a pretty good start. First blood going the way of Joshy. molluskk making rotations everywhere and trying to put pressure on the map. He gave Oceans and Joshy a lead. But Rival slowly but surely clawed their way back into this one with basically over-aggression from LG at most moments in this game.
And just good pressure on the right-hand side of the map. Twig and fineokay were able to get a ton of farms short. Arkkyl was under some pressure. Mike took a couple early spills. Rival doesn't care about that. They're really looking for fineokay and Twig to be a lot of their leaders when it comes to the team fighting phase, and they were able to do that very well.
Now, obviously, the patch hasn't hit for the SPL this week. It'll be hitting next week, so the players get a bit of time with it before we expect them to play on it, especially at this level. But talking about that, Fire Giant is going to be 30 minutes for the Enhanced. It's going to be a little bit easier to kill, too. Do you think we're going to see a bit of a change up with how the Fire Giant's done then because of that, or is it going to make enough of an impact?
Maybe. I mean, it'll make an impact for sure. I think that the bigger impact that'll be made is that teams are being much more wary of the team compositions they're building and how well they attack the Fire Giant and defend the Fire Giant. And not only the gods they're picking, but the items they buy on those gods.
Rival heading down the mid lane to a weakened Phoenix. As Blink in from Molluskk towards Arkkyl. He'll get Arkkyl's beads and get away in time. Joshy pops the ultimate too to dissuade Rival from aggressing. Will the Terra's ultimate really causing problems? Twig went in, and a beautiful silence from Kiki delays the Fear No Evil. Kiki may fall down for this, but he did a good job of peeling for his carries momentarily. The Phoenix is still alive. They don't care about that. They want the lives of the Luminosity members.
Oceans won't get his taken away, but the Titan gets pulled and then reset. PBM very, very low, but he's got that sustain built into the kit with the Monolith, and then the ultimate, the Enhanced Fire Giant as well will help him out.
Quite respectful from Rival to fall back there. Obviously, 4 members of LG still being alive, and all the ultimates on Rival down, barring, you know, King Arthur, who's always got his available, it feels like. They're onto the right-hand Phoenix instead. Minion wave with them, that'll bring it down quite quick.
Xalia's up at about 20. Rival have the opportunity to come in and end right now. I mean, they're low on relics, no beads on any of the carries for Rival. Molluskk is gonna have that ultimate up soon. Kiki, Oceans, they have theirs. It's a bit risky, I suppose, for Rival. They might want to reset and get those relics back up and have their ultimates ready as well.
Yeah, they might just be waiting for PandaCat space and time, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're going to do the drop shit. I can almost say, because I think Rival know they've won this one. And the players on this team, I know they're the ones that would like to do something like that.
They like to have their fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be down for a space and time play, you know, with the drop shit.
Here he comes.
Bait them all out. Choo-choo, straight through, on to Joshy. Joshy dead. There was no escape for him. Oceans did take PandaCat down, though, for his indiscretions of that play. And Xaliea's going to commit onto CaptainTwig. Arkkyl, meanwhile, is like a freight train in the back line just because of the build and the damage that Freya will bring.
Gonna get himself a potential triple here. There it is. He's got one more left, but Kiki's going to be able to make it back to the fountain. And Rival are going to close this one out in about 32 minutes.
And that's game one going the way of Rival, as you say. Good start for LG yet again. The aggression's working okay for them. They discombobulate the teams early on, which is good. But every single team so far has answered the call when they've been presented it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think that teams have really understood exactly what Luminosity is going to do to them. Their big calling card early on in the season is that they were unpredictable, and you didn't know what they were going to pick, where they were going to start, how they were going to play the map. And I think teams have just kind of gotten a grasp of all three of those things. Luminosity has also defaulted to more kind of regular starts, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. I mean, you'll see a lot more of Kiki starting either the duo lane or in the solo lane, where a lot of other supports are starting. Whereas before it was, you never really know the lane swaps, Joshy going solo lane, you know, all that kind of stuff. LG's kind of moved away from that. And I understand, I mean, they didn't have a lot of success when doing it, but they're not having a lot of success now either. I wonder if going back to that sort of off-the-wall, weird style might be the better call for them, just to try and keep teams on their toes.
They keep trying to switch it up, though. That's the main thing, I guess, to look from them. But those camera faces more than anything else, it really looked like there was no communication going on after the game. It starts to weigh on you when you keep losing games.
It definitely does. I mean, think back to their set before PK. I believe they won game 1, lost 3 in a row. Then they lose 3 in a row to PK. Now they've lost another one. That's 7 losses in a row for them. And they still got a best of 5 to play. It's tough to bounce back from that.
Well, let's find out if they can do that. Let's go to the desk with Finch and Tolly to break down game 1.
7 losses in a row, and after that, it's hard to see a way for things to turn around for this LG team. A big win, though, for Team Rival, and a very strong game they were able to play and bounce back, because LG did come out of the gate swinging a little bit. I think this is the first game where Joshy actually looked good in this middle lane, and that swap made a little bit of sense to me because both he and Oceans were firing. But this is another game where I feel like Molluskk couldn't do enough for them in the early game.
Definitely not. I think that the start really hindered LG's potential in this game. You first pick the Osiris, but then you don't do much with it in terms of invading the blue buff, having Kiki sit in that lane a little bit longer to make any presence really felt. And as a result, in the mid game, there was about a 3 to 4 level disparity between Kiki and fineokay, and an Arthur with that kind of a lead is just going to do more against LG's backline as opposed to what Xaliea is going to bring to the table.
That's a great point. LG had such a difficult time dealing with this King Arthur from fineokay, and he was able to get right to the backline, particularly causing problems for Ocean too on this Muzen and not give him options to move. It really cut down Mollusk's potential to dive as well. He couldn't really get past the Erlang Shen, and I do think that it does come down a little bit towards that early game because they were able to get a couple of nice picks, but you heard Hindu and Aggro talking about a little bit that maybe Kiki was a little quick on his trigger sometimes with those ultimates, that Molluskk couldn't line his positioning up the way that you would have liked. I think that LG had more good-looking stuff in this game than yesterday, but it still just wasn't enough.
Yeah, and even killing an Osiris with his passive all the way up at level level 11 because of the Janus rotation. Good plays coming out of PandaCat there. And LG was keeping it even because of all those picks you were mentioning up until they started the Gold Fury in a weird way around that 1845 mark, where they actually lost 2 members during this fight. Rival don't go for the Gold Fury in the next minute or so. And LG were like, well, wait, if they're not going for the Gold Fury, maybe we can sneak one away. Then all of a sudden, oh, wait, they have Janus. They're going to be able to catch up to us.
And that's another thing. I talked about how all these pieces that Rival picked up would really be able to line up well together because they're a team that does that well, and that's exactly what ended up happening. PandaCat was using his ultimate, to try and hit the back line some, but for the most part, it was creating these avenues, these portals for the team to move in. Twig was finding some really good Fear No Evils in this game as well. I love when we get to see him on the Unbots because it really does let him ride that line that he likes to ride anyway between the setup for his team, but also plenty of kill potential in his own right. And we got to see both of those from him today too. When Rival plays like this, it's not just LG they can beat. I mean, it's just about anybody.
Yeah, and even with LG getting some of these picks against PBM at that 24-minute mark, PandaCat on the Janus, the transportation hub ultimate starts punishing LG for overextending because they got the kill, but it was at the tier 1 solo lane tower. And then LG, utilizing all their cooldowns still from the rest of their squad, were able to capitalize with a 2 or 3 picks. And it was just really absurd what Rival were able to do by punishing LG.
And it's like Kiki said in the interview, they've got to come through this early game on more even footing and make it to this mid game where they can actually have some heads-up fights. Because, I mean, you saw it. Oceans, I think, had a solo kill into Arkkyl at one point with the Stinger and blew him up right away. I mean, when these picks for them and these players are certainly strong. We're finally seeing a little bit from Joshy. I think makes this pick make sense. Oceans has looked good all week, I've thought, at least, to trying to do what he can to keep this team in it. They just got to do a little bit better by themselves in their own right to get themselves into a better spot.
Yeah, Arkkyl actually getting the solo kill first in that matchup with the hastened ring. That's a great power spike for most Freyas. And then after the fact, after actually a failed gank in a 2v1 situation, the long-range Stinger did kill Arkkyl. He was playing very aggressive that game.
He was feeling himself.
Yeah, an Arkkyl that I haven't seen in a while, but I like this style out of Rival, being able to cover all their bases. You got a team fight ultimate from the Batz. You got utility movement speed coming through from Janus.
Yeah.
It was just a great idea to also get the Arthur, even though they were baiting it out to be first picked out of LG.
Well, LG won't be the first pick here yet again as we move into the picks and bans now for game number 2. Achilles banned out right away. Merlin banned out right away. This is all pretty similar to what we saw. I think Achilles was the second ban in game number 1. I'm wondering if they're going to let this King Arthur through again. They clearly didn't have an answer to it for fineokay. It would make some sense to me if LG want to take that one off the board.
I don't think that they have to take away the Arthur, but if you're going to give up the Arthur, you have to at least have some presence in that lane, because Arthur that gets into a neutral state, let alone a state that gets him ahead, is going to be an absolute nightmare. So maybe have Kiki rotate on. Erlang Shen onto molluskk didn't make those rotations super effective. It is difficult to kill the Erlang Shen, or sorry, to kill the King Arthur, so maybe lean on gods like Serket. I don't think that was actually picked or banned in the last game.
And the Terra is what they're going to ban away here from LG. And I think this is the right idea. PolarBearMike played this well. There are obviously some times where the Osiris didn't have to worry about it as much with the passive all the way up. You can kind of just walk through those walls. But largely, PolarBearMike was the one that was getting stuff done for this team. I agree to take that away. I don't know if it was the central problem, though. Maybe LG's trying to see if they can force a rival to leave it up and take it for themselves. I don't know if that we saw the Jormungandr prioritized in the first part of those picks and bans either. That's one more thing that rival might have to worry about now. If they ban King Arthur, they'll definitely pick up Jormungandr and give it to Xaliea. He's looked comfortable on it.
It wasn't picked or banned in the last game. Jormungandr just casually forgotten about. I think that these teams came with a very specific game plan. LG's game plan was Warriors. Osiris or Erlang Shen accomplishes that task. Rival's game plan was team fights. Batz, Janus, check marks those boxes. So that's why Jormungandr not for either team in game 1.
It didn't really fit with those game plans they came in. It's the Erlang Shen ban. Take that one away from molluskk, which I find surprising. molluskk didn't exactly impress me on the Erlang Shen. And to be fair, you heard Aggro talking about a little bit on the cast that molluskk has a bit been figured out in the early game. At the start of the season, he was kind of catching people off guard. He was playing really aggressive at a time when a lot of people can be timid and still figuring out the meta, and instead he put the pedal to the metal and actually was able to get them some good starts. Now, teams are ready for it. They're invading him and not letting him play that way that he's used to.
He's had a lot of success on the Hun Batz, which is why Rival drafted it early in Game 1, and also ran a Tasker, but that wasn't picked in Game number 1.
Right.
Something that wasn't picked in Game 1 either was a Jormungandr, so we're going to finally see it in Game number 2. Still not sure where that's going to go. Could be fineokay, could be PBM.
Yes, it definitely could, though I think a lot of people like the Jorm matchup into King Arthur since you can't, like, pick him up for Camelot and for Avalon, so it can feel pretty good in that situation, and it is some magic damage over there to maybe change his build path a bit, so that might be where we see it. I do like the Jing Wei, though. Not just a strong hunter, but obviously you want it into Freya, you want into those knockups from Jormungandr. It can get you out of there a lot of the time, so that's a no-brainer pickup for Oceans for me.
Yeah, Rival actually banned that away in the previous game, one of their throwaway bans in the first round, trying to kind of bait LG to see where they're going to go. So a very safe hunter now coming through for Oceans. Shouldn't really have too many difficulties up against this Freya matchup. Don't expect a solo kill this time around from Arkkyl.
I wonder if they'll prioritize a mage here, though, for Joshy. Because remember, last time Rival were willing to commit 2 of their bans to the Zeus and the Poseidon to limit out Joshy's options in the middle lane. If LG are worried about that again, if they really wanted something, they might pick it. Though something like a Zeus this early could potentially get bullied if they snap it here.
They definitely could go for the Zeus. I like the Raijin play coming through from Joshy.
It has been good, you're right, yeah.
He can able to Thunder Crash away defensively if he wants to himself. If you're locking the Zeus now, that means Kiki has to play defensive Guardian.
Like a Kepri or something we saw Valid yesterday.
I'm surprised he went for Ganesha, honestly, in this last game, knowing that the backline of Muzen was going to have some issues in terms of surviving, and it was very evident that he was struggling to survive some of these team fights.
And need a little bit more backup. Ganesh, though, will be the pick here for LG, so they'll wait a little bit longer on what they're going to give Joshy in the middle lane. That'll give Rival the opportunity. And honestly, if I'm Rival, I kind of think you might let them have that Poseidon and ban, like, Raijin Zeus, right? Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're too worried about it. The cripple field is good, even in a world where I think Joshy's not hitting the best Krakens. That Whirlpool is something to worry about. I get it, but I don't know, man. He has not seen any success on it. Let him play it.
I'm almost surprised that LG didn't draft the Hun Batz for themselves. CaptainTwig having a very great game for himself, going 7, 2, and 11 in that last game. The team fights were very difficult to coordinate for LG, knowing that they have to play around that Fear No Evil ultimate. But instead, Dharmic Pillars can kind of serve the same purpose, having to kind of circumnavigate that square in the middle of a team fight. Not the easiest task.
It definitely can be some disruption and can let you try and cheat your way into stopping them from disengaging and watching out for your carries at the same time, but didn't quite work for the Muzen comp. Maybe if Oceans picks something with well, he has the Jing Wei, it has more self-reliance, right? So then Ganesh can maybe feel a little bit more free to not have to completely hold Oceans' hands in these fights. As it is the Poseidon Zeus bans again. That must mean they're comfortable with Joshy playing on the Raijin, which I think is the thing he's looked best on in the middle lane.
I almost want to see him play either Jean-Queen or Outwash, because the reason that LG had success with the Ganesh originally was because of the Zeus. The Ganesh ultimate forces a team to either stay in the box and, you know, take in a whole bunch of AoE damage, or run away from the Dharmic Pillars, taking the damage and getting slowed at the same time. So you need something to fill in the middle of the square. That's where Zeus came in. That's what gave LG their win against the United, Dignitas, and Space Station Gaming. So now without the Zeus, maybe Outwash, maybe Jean-Queen, something that could fill that square.
That could certainly be good. I wonder if there's any chance Rival want to pick it for themselves, since they have banned away the Zeus and the Poseidon. Maybe they can pick up a Raijin for this comp, though that would give them a ton of magical damage. They might not want to have that much reliance on it between the Freya, the Jorm, and then the middle laner too. So that's what LG was thinking. They banned away this Muzen Cobb, thinking that could be going to PandaCat, who we all know can play hunters pretty well, it turns out.
It definitely can, and I think that with the kind of success Arkkyl had in the last game with the Freya getting the solo kill, having so much late game damage, you don't want to stray away from giving him that god, so
I agree.
Could very well easily see a physical hunter in that mid lane. Don't expect it to be Jormungandr mid as opposed to Zeros coming through from the Pittsburgh Knights.
That's right. That's a bit of a Zero special, taking the Jormungandr, the World Serpent, into the middle lane. So likely that won't be what we'll see coming out here in the middle lane. it looks like LG are worried that it's going to be a bit, though, of a basic attack-focused comp. They
There's
banned the
the
Fafnir,
spirit.
too, along with the Muzen comp. And this is a bit out of right field, I would say. The Baron Samedi coming into the middle lane. And I said Rival might try some stuff here in this set. Looks like they might be.
This is Jormungandr solo Baron support, actually.
Oh,
Baron,
you think this is PBM?
Yeah, because PBM is going to chase Kiki no matter where he goes. Ganesh doesn't have CC immunity, so you're just going to be able to do life of the party and constantly pull this Ganesh closer and closer.
Chronos coming through, though, for LG. This could be another strong pick. It gives them the double basic attack composition, and they're stripping away the Awilix. Not just strong on their own team, but just make sure, just in case, there's no way this could fit in over there for Rival. But this does give them some early presence for molluskk, which we know is another pick that he likes to see. And now Rival floats on this last pick. We'll get a chance to confirm, based on this, if this really is going to PBM. I don't know, man. I've heard some stuff about some mid-Baron that it might be good. So I'm very curious at where they're going to go with this last slot.
It's a lot of magical damage. You're going to need another physical to kind of fill that spot. So
I think
either
so.
physical mid or physical solo laner, depending on how Rival want to switch it around. This Awilix is interesting because you have knockups from Jing and Ganesh. You also kind of prevent the somersault coming out of the hunt Batz. And that's going mid.
Yes, so I think you're right then that this Baron Samedi is going to PolarBearMike because this has to go over to PandaCat, I would assume. The Medusa is one that PandaCat definitely liked to play even when he was in the long lane last year as well. So this definitely even feels like a bit of a comfort pick that he could certainly play. Medusa can be difficult to box even for other hunters at times with that acid. So definitely could be tough if you're just a mid-mage in that lane.
And also, Baron Samedi is pulling you in. So that Petrify
That's
is going to
gonna
have
hit.
a lot of synergy. This is the strategy Rival are going to deploy. You ready? Kill Kiki.
Yeah, kill Kiki.
That's it.
It's worked all week long. Unfortunately for my man, he's had a rough time of it. We'll go ahead and see exactly where all this stuff is going and what the game plan is, though. Let's get it over to Hindu and Agar for the cast.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Interesting compositions coming through here. Not too much Baron as of late, especially in the support role.
No.
And that's where it's looking like it could be.
Yeah, I mean, Mike loves this god. I mean, he played a ton of it when it was really meta last year. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to him. I would have liked to see some Baron mid because I love this character and wish that he could be a more viable mid laner, but I think support and solo are still where he truly shines.
And that's what I was going to say. It could have potentially been solo lane, but Yom so strong there and not as strong in the support role, I feel. It's more than likely this Baron in the support role more than anything else. But where will he start will be the question. Because LG, as you were saying in game one, they started to go back to traditional things of the 2-1 jungle meta. You know, nothing too crazy with the duo lane starting together. Where will Mike go? Will he join his Freya or will he go on an adventure?
He'll probably start over in the solo lane. Who am I with again? I can't. Your name just escaping me right now.
Yeah.
I lost it.
Mine too.
Look, Mike is going to start over in the solo lane. This is something that when you're starting 2v2 and oftentimes it's two low clear characters against one another, you don't end up getting a whole lot of advantage off of it. A lot of the supports that we're seeing these days in solo laners have good level 1 clear because that's actually very relevant right now. And so PBM, Baron doesn't have great level 1 clear. I mean, he is a mage, so you're going to expect him to have better than he really does. I mean, it's probably going to get Vivid Gaze level 1 because it's a low cooldown, but it doesn't really do very much damage.
And that's kind of the decision of which ability to take too can make a bit of an impact on how Baron will begin. The one thing that Baron does bring at level 1, stronger than any other god in the game, the Baron's Brew, baby.
It's a good beverage, but I don't know. I don't miss it that much after not playing with Baron for a long time. Look, I like it in the early game, but I think people hold on to it far too long.
Sure, I agree with that.
That's the way I feel.
I can agree with that. I mean, especially when you should be putting wards there for the most part. It's a good excuse for not buying wards, though. So take that into your games. molluskk taking a trade with Arkkyl and not really getting the better end of it. As Arkkyl now on the run back away from Oceans. I don't know if he spotted Twig towards the tail end. They'll see him in lane, though. As Twig just wanted to make sure Arkkyl was safe there.
molluskk started with Moonlight Charge instead of the Feather Step. Feather Step far better at confirming the buff, I would imagine. So Moonlight Charge, I don't know. I'm
guessing base damage is higher.
I would guess so. So maybe it isn't better secure. Maybe it is just better secure and he just messed it up.
There we go. Let's have a little look. 90 plus 70% scaling, and the 2. What's the Feather Step at?
So
8 seconds, 40.
2 times. So yeah, it's 80 plus 50%. So yeah, it is more damage.
PandaCat a bit of pressure in the mid lane though. Takes a ton of damage. Didn't bead, surprisingly. He kind of held the beads, and when the team LG realized it not beads that, then they fully commit and punish him for it.
Very greedy there for sure from PandaCat. was pretty aggressive with his positioning in game 1 for a lot of the game. On Janus, you can get away with that pretty well because of your portals. Not always an option.
Xaliea under a bit of pressure here, but he is King Arthur, and he's got molluskk behind him. Molluskk now looking for a rotation round the back. fineokay doesn't know about it just yet. He'll see him now, and on seeing that, molluskk is going to farm up the wave instead, try and clear some of those minions out, as Kiki continuing to help Joshy in this mid lane. On the Joshy on Chronos, so kind of a hunter to an extent, and
yeah,
same can be said for PandaCat.
I mean, Joshy was playing this Chronos in the duo lane a couple weeks ago against Space Station when he got that quadra kill, so certainly doing okay for himself on this pick so far this year. Put it in the mid lane. It won't get nearly as much farm early on in the game, so it is a slower ramp-up time. I can't remember if Joshy went for the Warlock staff build in that game, the slow ramp-up that some Chronos players like. You really cannot get away with that style in the mid lane, but you can go with the Bancroft's talent straight into some rings in that sort of style, and that's the way it looks like Joshy's going.
The build coming along nice with the boots as well. Arkkyl's down for Rival on this left-hand side. Golfrey doesn't spawn just yet, but the purple is. And Arkkyl's already over there again to try and strip this one away, continuing to just find small wins on the map. Luminosity, though, we're pressuring right-hand side here. We just saw molluskk looking towards the blue buff, but fineokay is already there to try and secure it himself. So he's going to show up and try and strip it away.
Xaliea is going to force him off of it, but Twig on his way over. No rotation in from Kiki and molluskk. Their fight at this point in the game just doesn't feel particularly strong to me. I mean, Xaliea doesn't have Glad Shield yet. molluskk doesn't have Gravity Surge yet. You kind of want to wait for those abilities before you're willing to engage.
Speaking of the Gravity Surge too, maybe it's a good idea for molluskk to play a bit of a counter initiation here against CaptainTwig. Especially with CaptainTwig not going for the blink option. Means that he will be using the somersault a little bit more often here.
Has to, but at the same time, molluskk went without the beads again. He got punished for it a little bit, I would say, in game 1, but really not too much. It was much more focused on Kiki in that game 1, so maybe they're relying on that being the factor again. Problem is, instead of the Terra where, you know, Ganesha can easily silence the Terra or dash out of the monolith nonsense, you can just Baron ult Kiki, kill him, and then still have that Fear No Evil for another target.
Twig looking for a bit of pressure in mid lane. Throws out the monkey toss just to help clear the wave. Panda just happy to bring him down. Left hand side, Arkkyl though. Did pick up some wards as well, funny enough, and just made sure he placed him down for himself and give him a bit more security. As Oceans did a good job of freezing the wave there for a little while to try and catch him on some experience.
Just like last game, once Arkkyl gets that hastened ring, actually he might not need the hastened ring, he just wins that trade outright up against Oceans. You just have to respect the banish, and even with the agility to get Oceans a lot of distance away, Arkkyl just knows exactly where he has to go, and Oceans was far enough up on the lane that he couldn't get to his tower quickly enough.
Credit where it's due though, Oceans using the ultimate there at the tail end, realizing he was definitely in death danger. One more attack from that range and Arkkyl could have popped the ultimate and he definitely would have died there, even after landing. I think that would have been the end of his life, so wisely done at the tail end of that play on the left-hand side there. Blue buff over to Xaliea on the right. He'll be back to lane with that. Gladiator Shield online, so back to King Arthur standards.
Pretty sure Xaliea just used Excalibur's Wrath to get to the blue buff in time, and it looks a little bit odd, but he can't use it against Jormungandr anyways. It doesn't work.
But maybe he doesn't have it for when CaptainTwig now rotates in around the back and looks for a Fear No Evil, and the damage is pretty solid so far. Xaliea trying to survive with the Gladiator Shield. He did for a while and actually forced Twig to commit because Twig expected another ability, but left-hand side, more aggression.
PolarBearMike already has the ultimate down. Ocean's going to get that one. Joshy in a great position to stun Arkkyl here as well. The Petrify comes through from PandaCat. Is it enough to get LG away?
Yeah, Xaliea falls, PolarBearMike falls. So across the map, you know, not a terrible situation for Luminosity in the grand scheme of things, but a support for a solo laner definitely favors Rival.
Without a doubt, especially with the first blood going Rival's way anyways. You're getting fineokay ahead again. This is a matchup that a lot of teams have started to really like, is the Jormungandr against the King Arthur. Because King Arthur doesn't really burst you down in lane, he really whittles you down and out-sustains you. And a lot of the reason that he can do that is because of a low cooldown ultimate, like Excalibur's Wrath, that does significant damage. And Jorm just doesn't have to worry about that.
Funny enough, though, for Riot, he did bring out the Camazotz against the Jormungandr.
Yeah.
And then that's also a good pick against King Arthur. Camazotz is just like the anti-solo laner these days.
So in some ways, yes,
But then there's still Osiris that comes in the mix now and again too, obviously. But
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, Camazotz has always been a really good laner. I
Yeah.
don't think that's ever been a question for him. It's just his level of impact once it comes to the team fighting phase. Does he match gods like King Arthur or Jormungandr? Most of the time, the answer's no.
Kiki gonna give a heal towards PolarBearMike and PandaCat. Flex a little bit of damage out there. Won't be surprised to see a Lotus Crown here eventually for PolarBearMike on this support. And there's the Crypts being emptied actually onto Joshy, and Joshy has to use the beast to get away, but he can't. He's still getting pulled into the wall. Panda's just going to keep using the basic attack, standing there, enjoying himself for the most part. A nice pick for Rival.
Now, Fear No Evil onto Kiki as well in the mid lane. He gets rooted by PBM, and Panda gets himself a double kill. That is really smart Baron play there from PBM. Understands you don't need to get the stun to make it work.
No, and now fineokay pressure onto molluskk and Xaliea, and molluskk in trouble, has to dodge the World Serpent as many times as possible. Got knocked up there, but no over-aggression from fineokay. Technical knockout of molluskk for now. Or is it? Because he's going towards his speed buff anyway. He shouldn't lose too much there. Did lose his back harpies, however.
Just so far behind again at molluskk, and this is on the Awilix pick that you really can't afford to fall behind on. Erlang Shen, you lose your damage, but you never lose your CC. Same can be said for Awilix, but her CC is much less impactful than that of Erlang Shen. In most cases, you're really only looking at a long-range knockup being better. That's a pretty rare case, I'd say, for her.
PandaCat in the mid lane, Talaria boots online for him as well. I actually kind of like the idea of Talaria boots on Medusa, funny enough, just because of the side mobility. More than if it's her passive gives you a little bit more movement.
Yeah, she is really, really fast. That's a good point. She also can be pretty mana-hungry in the early game.
Definitely. I think that's why the Mage's Blessing's there, right?
Right, Mage's Blessing, because you're proccing it on all 4 of your abilities, so it's automatically pretty decent. Look at the damage on a Kiki, who's actually going to dash forward, get the beads out.
And then straight away, the ultimate out from PandaCat in response to try and get some further follow-up.
Yeah, good idea, but now Kiki's going to be in some trouble for it. Whoop is there. CaptainTwig does use the purification beads. Kiki continues to get even lower.
Quite a messy fight there, and Arkkyl at the tail end thought they could go for the secured kill, but Kiki will escape for now. Very messy fight overall. Kiki's re-aggression was interesting, though. He turned around to getting shot and went, okay, we can maybe make a play, and it actually works out okay.
It does. They got purification beads away from Twig and PandaCat. Ultimate
Xaliea
from PandaCat and Arkkyl as well.
Could be under the pressure on this right-hand side, because CaptainTwig's making a rotation with the Fear No Evil available too. And the ultimate just off the mark from Xaliea there. The CC immunity was used to try to prevent a Fear No Evil that Twig didn't even use.
Smart by Xaliea, but smarter by CaptainTwig. The former teammates going at it. Twig ganked for Xaliea a lot of the time, for a long period of time. Now ganks him instead.
It's weird nowadays because you're like former teammates. If you look across the SPL,
Unlucky.
There's a lot of players that connect.
Yes.
In terms of like they've been on a team at some point in their careers together now.
Yeah, there's a lot of former teammates hanging around on different teams, but that's kind of when you've played for 6 seasons. There's going to be a lot more permutations.
And I think that's the one thing as well. It's like it's nice to see when we get fresh blood in, and we always end up talking about it a little bit more because they're not been on a team, but then you have to use SPL kids. How are they going to do? You know, how are they going to measure up? Joshy is one of those. He played in the minor league previously, and this is his first real pro league shot.
Still has a former teammate though in the SPL in Lasbra.
He does.
Yeah, so there's still a connection.
There's always a connection.
Always some Insignum boys still hanging around.
Trying to think if there's any player that just came on the scene out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, where did this guy come from?
Baskin kind of came out of nowhere for the most part. He was on like 1 Challenger Cup team, 1 or 2 before getting picked up by Denial back in the day.
That was a long time.
That was a long time ago.
Going right back.
Yeah.
First thing I thought about with Baskin was really the first time Saw was the one that I remember the real claim to fame for.
Well, he went to C9 before that.
Yeah, I know. PolarBearMike, though, going to use the Crypts again as he got Rarity searched heavily. It was a good pick from LG, but it ends up being a support-for-support trade that, in my eyes, isn't too bad because it means there's no sustain available for Rival right now. Although, it's not really the stage of the game that you care about sustain.
No, but I mean, Mike is worth slightly more gold right now than Kiki because he's got a little bit more net worth, a little bit more XP. So I guess that's a slight win. It's just more of a matter of how many members got assists is usually how you determine which team got ahead in that.
You're right, though, funny enough. It is a small lead for Mike because he got a quicker trip back to base to finish off his Gauntlet of Thebes.
Ah, that's the play.
Genius. Unfortunately, Kiki couldn't do that at the same time. Otherwise, I think it still would have been pretty square. Twig looking to contest those Harpies on the right-hand side as molluskk now getting aggressive, sees fineokay. And fineokay happy to take a fight, and molluskk way more damage than he bargained for there. The Feather Step brings him to the fray, and the shell from Kiki's good. But the ultimate and the damage after the fact from Rival is better. Twig looking to escape, and fineokay just holding the ultimate ever so slightly. Gave that knock-up at the most opportune time.
Now he's a little bit low. Consigned Spirits misses from PBM, but it doesn't matter because Xaliea falls to the hand of PandaCat. I don't know why molluskk jumped in there. I mean, if he really wants to get to that fight super quickly, use your blink. Weird call right there from molluskk, and he gets punished for it. As soon as fineokay communicates to CaptainTwig that was mollusk's jump, Twig knows that's a great fight, even without Fear No Evil.
So it's about a 3.5k gold lead already for Rival. Definitely a bit of a difference compared to Game 1. LG did come out of the blocks as quick as they did in Game 1, but Rival were there to match them this time, and Kiki could be in trouble. The poison damage will help for sure for PandaCat to secure that kill. And now Joshy, who was trying to punish him for that, has to rewind, but where's he going to end up?
Over back by the red buff. Joshy gets stunned. I don't know, they should have the damage here, but it's going to be a bit risky. He's pretty quick. Okay, yeah, Arkkyl's ult will secure it. They needed to invest quite a bit in order to get that kill. Meanwhile, molluskk found CaptainTwig on the right side. Twig used the ultimate and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, I actually thought Rival might go straight for that Gold Fury then, but they went for the red buff first of all, now the Oracles too. These two characters definitely could bring down the Gold Fury, but they're a little bit worried about LG's respawns in this rotation back to the left-hand side.
And wisely so. No real sustain for either of those characters. Sure, Freya gets small heals for hitting ranged auto attacks, but not nearly enough to be able to tank up a Gold Fury.
Kiki mid lane. The Consided Spirits actually just duped out by both. Mike got greedy there for the double, didn't he? He was trying to show off.
Yeah.
Bad news is...
Well, he probably thought that Kiki was going to dash and that molluskk would expect him to hit Kiki, so that was the idea, but doesn't pan out.
Lots of water down on the left-hand side from Rival, quite deep in enemy territory. Keep an eye on the purple buff near the Gold Fury too. Oh, listen to those back harpies. molluskk is going to pull CaptainTwig with a gravity surge after somersault. And Twig is in a whole world of hurt. There was a nice little pick at the opportune time, as I think Twig had just come back from dying.
He really had. Now Arkkyl is going to end up falling most likely as well. One more auto from Oceans will do it. They're going to give it up. Yeah, PandaCat and PBM coming through. PandaCat uses his ultimate for CC immunity, but doesn't get a whole lot out of it.
Okay, so Rival on the back foot for now. The whole thing is quite interesting to me, but here's an ultimate again from Mike, who uses it nicely to buy as much time as possible for PandaCat to secure the kill, and at least end up having Twig be a 1-for-1 across the map. But Twig's deaf on that side there, that second death we just saw. I just like the idea of molluskk went straight to the left-hand side to go for buffs, and at the same time, Twig is the only place his farm, so he ends up there too.
Yeah, it just ends up being kind of serendipitous over there on the left side, and it works out nicely for molluskk. Gotta use your gravity surge anytime you can in a situation like that. So it's still very, very strong in the right circumstance.
But the one thing that we're not really keeping an eye on is PandaCat in this mid lane. 3-level lead now over Joshy. 6-1-1. Full Transcendence on the line, and then invested into a Gladiator shield.
Interesting.
Well, that means, I guess, you know, the likes of King Arthur and Awilix aren't going to have as much fun trying to take him down.
No, it's a bit of physical protection. It's cheap is the big thing, and it synergizes well with when it looks like Rival want to pull a Gold Fury. They want a cheap power spike item right now, start the fight right away.
fineokay going to knock up Kiki, and Kiki just trying to give himself some protections and buy himself a window. Has to use the Dharmic Pillars and the Shell too, but still can't get away. The whole of Luminosity, meanwhile, whole of them, 3 members were trying to do the Pyromancer, but CaptainTwig sniffed it out this time round, won't be giving any more of those away. They're pressuring Tier 1 in mid lane. Meanwhile, 2 members of Rival are playing Pong with the Gold Fury.
Oceans could come in and check it, but you might assume there's more people there, though they see them in mid lane still not able to get any contest in time. First Gold Fury goes the way of Rival. Just good play around that left side, and again, a good power spike opportunity by PandaCat with this Glad Shield. And like I said, he's proccing Mage's Blessing with all 4 abilities. He can also proc Glad Shield with all 4 abilities.
Very true indeed. And there is a mask on the board. I see a mask in the support role. PolarBearMike is looking for it. I'm not too upset about this. The mask on the supports can be pretty impactful. You're not really there for the most part to deal damage.
Yeah, but it's not the defense mask.
Oh, it was only rank 1 when it started talking about it. Now he's just upgraded it. That's why.
It's the Bumba's mask.
Tell me about the Bumba's mask, Ryan.
Yeah, where to start? Where to start?
How about movement speed?
Yeah, he's real fast now. He moves with some speed. He's got some pep in his step, to say the least.
I like that one. Did you make that one yourself?
No, I did not. That was made in like the 1800s, probably.
I was just thinking if you coined it for like SMITE.
Good use of the ultimate
from Mike to get away from danger, but he's still in danger, surrounded by 4. But can his zoomies keep him zooming quick enough? Mike now rotated on by Xaliea, but fineokay also wrapping around the back and causing a problem. And LG end up getting baited in by Mike being slightly out of position, to be fair. Fear No Evil hits 2. Xaliea still running Kiki 2. And in comes the World Serpent to try and find a kill.
Oh, Twig actually ends up stepping in front of that ultimate. Mike would have been in trouble, but Twig can tank it a little bit better at this point. A double kill for PolarBearMike. PandaCat gets 1 as well. Can't argue with results, Graham. The Blink Bumba's right. Baron works out nicely.
Clearly working here. The worst thing is watching LG's player cams, because having the players on cam all the time is great to see the emotions they go through, but sometimes you can feel sorry for them as well. And it's starting to look a little bit rough, this one here in game 2. Only 16.5 minutes in, and Rival are so confident in this that they've gone to a Fire Giant. They got a Gold Fury a moment ago, which wasn't even looked at. And now a Fire Giant with 2 members dead, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's all 5 members as well. I mean, the thing about the Baron with Bumbas is it actually does make sense more than other characters to me. Because think of Ganesha when he has his dash up. If you're far enough away from Empty the Crypts, you never get, or Empty the Crypts is Opwash from the Baron ultimate. You end up just dashing out of it, right? But PBM's so fast now that even when you dash, he can catch up to you and still pull you in to the coffin. So you can still catch characters with dashes a little bit more effectively. You're going to get even more movement speed with that Consigned Spirits.
But if you could do that, why would you not go Talaria Boots?
Well,
why would you not go Shield of Regrowth?
You can go Shield of Regrowth.
I know.
I'm surprised he's not going for it right now.
But that's why I'm surprised by the Talaria, because he's quite mana intensive, Baron, too.
He is, but he also has fairly long cooldown, so you want the CDR. You're going to get movement speed elsewhere. You can't get CDR as many places if you're going for this style of build.
Shield of Regrowth.
Shield of Regrowth gives you some, and so does Bumbas.
It does. It does. It's going to give you something. Other than Zoom Zooms, that's for the most part. Pressure them from Rival all over the map. 2 members left, 2 members mid, 1 member in the right-hand side, and that's CaptainTwig, but he's just keeping Xaliea busy from trying to split push and get some farm. The tower's already down on this side. But the same could now be said for the mid lane, and soon after, the left-hand side.
Mike zooming around. Actually going to zoom in between Phoenixes.
The gold lead is so big, Ryan, that everyone on Rival has another item above LG here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good, I would say, for Luminosity. That's my professional analysis. It's not looking good.
It's not looking good. How do they turn it around?
You kill Mike a lot because he went Bumbas and is really squishy.
Well, already the Phoenix is down on the right-hand side, uncontested there, and that looked pretty much backdoored. Arkkyl going to ult very early on to avoid the Darming Pillars, and molluskk was trying to collapse, and molluskk actually got stuck by the Darming Pillar against the wall, and now Kiki gets pulled in, but so does Mike, and Mike is squishy, and Mike is gone.
Well done there. Good stun or good knock-up that sets up mollusk's ultimate, but doesn't stop Rival too much. Oceans actually lands in a bad spot, doesn't have agility up, and Arkkyl finds his second.
And the World Serpent used by fineokay to continue the dive on towards Joshy. Joshy's trying to escape for now. No rewind available, remember. I was thinking about where he would reposition back to if he did go back, but fineokay now surrounded by 4 members of LG. And he's not going to have a fun time getting away. The rest of Rival weren't really paying attention. Bit of a split difference there by Rival. molluskk getting aggressive, gets the shot. But Arkkyl with the quick 180 turnaround. It wasn't needed though, as Gravity Surge wasn't available.
Ooh, PandaCat dashes away just in time to make sure he doesn't get picked up by
Talaria
that
boots,
Ganesha.
baby.
Talaria boots ends up being pretty impactful there. They get the right side Phoenix, both mid and left, to take about the same amount of damage, which is not enough.
God Fury spawning. Or should I say Oni Fury? And an Oni Fury at this stage is really big, especially with the right-hand Phoenix already being down. The fire minions are empowered even more so as they come on through, and then it's also going to help them to siege up the left and middle.
Yes, the Oni Fury is the ideal Fury, I think, for Rival. They've still got a little bit of time on Fire Giant, though not as much as they would like. They've lost it on fineokay and PBM as well, so that sustain that actually does matter for those characters is now gone. And Rival's building to end the game right now. Soul Reaver for PBM and a Spear of the Magus for fineokay.
And you talked a little bit about sustain though. I saw this blade coming out from Medusa. Toxic Blade?
That's the one.
Is this now going to be something we see more often? Because I think this item is cost efficient.
It is.
The stats are effective.
Yep.
But it's not something we see all the time if there's not healers in this game.
No, but 15 flat pen is a lot of damage. Remember, penetration is always better than outright power. You get 100 health, a lot of attack speed, 30% is a ton, extra movement speed as well. And in this game, you're not that worried about the anti-heal, though it's pretty decent. I mean, Xaliea is going to feel it for sure. Joshy has a Bancroft's talent. Oceans has lifesteal. You'll feel it.
Incidental extra reduction of healing going on. Mid lane, though, Fear No Evil onto Kiki. Kiki does get away from that, but heals up the team of Rival once more. And then the coffin is pulling him all the way back in again. And the elephant will go into that alone. Minion wave now on the way. Right-hand side, remember these will be Oni minions pouring down the lane on the left-hand side momentarily. molluskk commits, trying to make something happen there. Does cause a couple of issues for Rival, but more importantly, the Phoenix is now down.
everyone here, including PandaCat, that's the big one. PandaCat needs to be the one hitting those structures. He makes quick work of them. Fire Giant's off, though, of Rival, and even with some Oni waves, they are going to try for the left-hand side. They're going to try and just insta-kill this Fire Giant as soon as it lands before it becomes enhanced.
I think Game 3 for Luminosity really is throw caution to the wind and pull out any pocket picks that you've been trying and practicing just to see if they'll make something happen, right?
Yes, I
They need
completely
something.
agree. Yeah, you'll hear me say it a lot. You have to play to your outs,
Yeah.
and look, you want to stick to what you've been practicing and that kind of stuff. But when it's this clear that it's not going to work, it can't be that much worse.
So let's talk about what picks could come out that we don't see too often that may throw a spanner. Jing 10, I think, is still there for Kiki, but I think that could look to a different role as well. Like, you could potentially have that in solo. I'm not saying you replace a King Arthur, I guess, but...
Yeah, but the
Maybe
King
you do.
Arthur, I mean, it was a good... he got counterpicked by the Jormungandr, but they had the option to go Jorm and let fineokay pick the King Arthur, and they decided against it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean...
What about some Hades, some Arachne?
Yeah, Arachne, something like that.
I'm just thinking wild stuff.
I'm starting at their speed, and I'm running it down. That's the game plan. Trying 50-50 the speed. I'm down to take coin flips all game if I'm LG. Because
maybe you run an objective comp and just go with like ISIS and stuff like that. I know that's wild, but like go to try and burst the objective as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Also, what happened to Agni as of late? What happened to him? Where'd he go?
We're seeing a
Is he on
little.
vacation?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's taking a bit of a break. I mean, it's been so much about mid lane hunters recently and AMC and that kind of stuff.
Damning Pillars out from Kiki just to push Rival off of that Phoenix. And the ultimate out from Mike there just to vacuum the floor, make sure it's nice and clean before the whole of Rival barrel on in with a Fear No Evil and the ultimate out of PandaCat too. Twig gets one. Moss going to at least pick up PolarBearMike and the World Serpent dancing around the map as you'd expect.
Joshy in some trouble. Doesn't have his rewind or his relics, and he doesn't have a life either. Number 19 for Rival. And they're going to finish this one pre-25.
Yeah, 3:25 minutes. Not even an enhanced Fire Giant required. Just two normal ones. 19-8. And Rival enjoying themselves now after game 2. Smiles on their faces. And it's going according to Arkkyl's plan. We're going to go out and have fun and beat them. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, Arkkyl has really been running it down the duo lane pretty much. Game 1 got punished for it. Game 2 not nearly as badly. A couple ganks went that way. But I agree with what you were saying. I mean, LG, you just kind of go back to the drawing board and dig something up. Yeah. You know, you go. This is where you look at your teammates and go, has anyone been killing it in ranked with someone recently? I mean, you're looking for anything now.
And I think the one problem that's really a problem for LG here is that sometimes the strategies that I'd like to see from teams like this is like, okay, let's go and invade their buffs. Well, the problem is that's kind of been what the Season 6 started anyway, so everyone kind of expects those invades. So how do you answer it back again? I'm just not sure. No show. Gold Fury obviously doesn't spawn right at the beginning of the game anymore either, so you can't even try and rush a Gold Fury. And that's how wild I'm going, where I'm like, well, maybe you try and rush a Gold Fury at the start.
Those were the days. Starting with like all the Arachne webs on Gold Fury, and you just try and hog it right away, all by red pots. Yeah, that's maybe LG should get into the code and try and get that working for them. Look, I really don't know. LG just looks outclassed right now.
And they've got to find something. That's what they're really after here. LG really up against it against Rival. Obviously, coming into the set, Rival were expected favourites, but we're always hoping for more from LG. Let's break down game 2.
Hey, I'm still hoping for a little bit more. They have a chance still to try and turn this around in game number 3. Though after a dominant performance like that from Rival, it certainly does not seem likely. Baron support working out for PolarBearMike. Yeah. I say Baron support a bit loosely. Bumbas, Soul Reaver, those things don't scream support to me, but hey, he was able to get the job done. PandaCat back on Hunters. I mean, what stood out for you here in this match?
It's funny because LG gets the first blood onto PandaCat, but since then, PandaCat doesn't die after the first blood. And funny enough, he doesn't use beads on purpose almost, it seems like. He disrespected LG completely because, number one, Kiki came from behind. He misses the dash, but then the time stop was actually the big turning point. Xaliea obviously struggling in that solo lane a little bit as well. Good rotations coming out of CaptainTwig. And we were talking about this matchup, or highlighting it rather, how there needs to be more pressure coming from molluskk in that lane.
That's such a good use of that Baron ultimate. But you're right, there needed to be more pressure for molluskk. And he was the one that got that first blood, I think, right? He got the credit for it on the Awilix, the one you were just describing for us. So, I mean, even in that scenario where molluskk actually having a good game, I think at one point he was 2-1 and 2 at the early game, it still is not enough for this team. They can't get these pieces to all line up. And even in a situation where molluskk is getting kills, they're very often traded. The team's not building a lead off it or able to find any farm in the jungle or anything like that. And part of the problem is that PandaCat can always just pick something like a Medusa and then pop off because he's one of the best physical hunter players out there anyway, and he's risen up to the point now where you have to be worried about his mages as well. Just a truly impressive performance from him, an impressive phase from him. He's been so great for this team in Season 6 in general.
That kill Kiki strategy definitely working out after that last replay.
0-8, I think. Yep.
Yeah, like towards the end of the game, Kiki not being able to show the true power of the Ganesh because Rival are coming in with a game plan. They don't care about the Ganesh because they have an idea of how to counter it. Game number 1, it was just about team fights. Janus being able to get everyone away from the Dharmic Pillars. And then game number 2, it was the Baron Samedi from PBN constantly pulling Kiki just closer to danger.
And Xaliea had a rough time this game, 0-5 and 2. But for what it's worth, I actually think this game was closer than it looked for a while. There was this fight around that tier 2 tower in right lane that fineokay really was able to run the table on with the Jormungandr ult, where he was able to come through and I think find even a double kill to get himself set up and provide plenty of damage to the rest of the squad. I mean, there's so many difficult things about dealing with this competition from Rival. The control from PolarBearMike, from CaptainTwig, the safe damage from fineokay, even PBM built damage. I mean, it was coming from every direction. They didn't have an answer.
And I just don't like LG's composition. When you run the Ganesh and a Chronos in mid, that's not doing the Dharmic Pillars any justice. That's why they were having success with the Ganesh Zeus, right? Because the ultimates just synergize so well together. No Wapwash, no Zhonkui after the fact. It's a little surprising to see from LG. They're going to need to switch it up in game 3 if they lock in the Ganesh.
You're right. You pick the Ganesh to force them to make a difficult choice.
Yes.
Without that punishing mid ultimate, you don't have to make a choice at all. You kind of just chill, right? And instead of having to walk back through it. So unfortunately, they weren't ever able to put Rival into that difficult spot that the Ganesh usually works for. It's a lot of issues. I don't know if they can afford to let the King Arthur through again. They might have to pick that again, or at least ban it because Xaliea didn't seem to look comfortable on it. They've got a lot they've got to get corrected here moving into this match.
Yeah, LG struggling so much that basically Rival are doing whatever they please. Even the build from PandaCat was not one to be current meta, right? Like Gladiator Shield coming from the Medusa mid is almost like Benny Q level from North America SMITE Minor League, where he's doing unorthodox things.
Sure.
And if you want a cooldown reduction, there are other things that you can go for, like Soul Eater is out there, potentially Hydra's Lament. You can run on the Medusa if you really want to. Even Jotun's Wrath if you're really looking for that cooldown reduction. But instead, he was pretty safe to do whatever he wanted.
Went with a little bit of extra tankiness in that middle lane, a slight bit of sustain. Ended up working out in the end, but how much credit can you truly give to the Glad Shield, right? As Rival will be in the first pick selection here for the picks and bans for game number 3, potentially the final game as well, if LG can't figure out something. And when I say something, I really mean a lot of somethings, because nothing that they've done so far has worked against Rival, not yesterday either. So they're going to need to, I would say, throw out the whole playbook and try and come in with something different. I mean, Aggro said it slightly glib earlier, like, what have you guys just been doing in rank that's worked? But I mean, that might be the well you've got to go to, because clearly the stuff that they normally wrote up is just not going to be good enough to take down Rival.
Now, in games 1 and 2, LG, they first picked the Osiris and the Arthur. Didn't make any impact in that solo lane whatsoever. Now game 3, Rival get the first pick, and they get one of the most impactful gods in the game that fineokay was able to get that quadra kill with.
That's scary. Another highlight reel might be in the making. But LG respond by grabbing the Terra, grabbing the Muzen Cobb. These are some strong picks. You don't want to let this Muzen Cobb go over to someone like PandaCat in the middle lane. Pick that up for Joshy. He certainly has looked capable up on it. This might even go to Ocean. I think it was Oceans who played it earlier in this set.
Yes.
So that does have some flex potential there for them. But Chronos being taken away. Rival not wanting to give over that double basic attack comp.
Now, from LG, this Terra pick is great, but I don't want to see it in the solo lane any longer. Xaliea actually needs an aggressive god. He can't afford to lose multiple blue buffs, multiple Totem of Coups. Rival, once they get an edge, they don't really lose that edge very often, and they're going to punish you with any little lead that they can establish, going from a 32-minute game to about a 24-minute game from games 1 and 2 was because of that early momentum that they had. And with the Achilles Chronos, that is screaming early damage, a lot of CC already between those two gods. I think that even CaptainTwig can play the Achilles depending on what fineokay wants to do.
You're right. It's a ton of flex potential there. As Cabrakan comes through, I feel like this one might be for PBM, but you really don't know. I mean, this could be for Twig in the jungle. He's got plenty of gank potential on this Cabrakan, so you don't know quite where this is. As Sobek comes through, now this one could be over there for Xaliea. And I wanted to say, for what it's worth, Xaliea has tried to be more aggressive, right? He's played the Osiris. He's played the King Arthur. I don't know if picking aggressive stuff's going to get it done. They need molluskk to stay relevant and be able to rotate over there and try and put fineokay behind or something like that, because at least they've given him the pick. It just hasn't worked.
It's definitely a flex pick between Terra and Sobek of if it's Kiki or if it's going to be Xaliea. Guardians known for both of them. And the way the way Xaliea builds his Guardians has recently been rushing that Pythagoras piece. Probably we'll see it again today. But there needs to be pressure from molluskk to really shut down fineokay. It doesn't matter what fineokay is playing, if it's the Achilles, the Cabrakan, or otherwise. Get the solo pressure, get the blue buffs, get the Totem of Coups, establish an early lead, and keep building off of it.
And Kiki's got to get on something that can still have some value even when he's focused, because he's clearly either been the focus there from Rival or has just been playing out of position, whichever one of the two you want to chalk it up to. He's been dying a lot, and I mean all week. He's clearly been the target. So maybe something like where Kepri, where at least if he can get the res off on someone else, even if he dies, at least that value is put out there. I'm thinking that if he picks someone who needs to be in the team fight the whole time, it's just not going to work for him. He hasn't lived through one.
Yeah, and he has to play the Terra or the Sobek because there's no other...
You're right, yeah.
Like, the jungle pick is... You're not picking Sobek or Terra into that role, so Kiki going to have to stick to one of those two gods. And in terms of mitigating what Cabrakan is going to bring to the table, Sobek and Terra both can kind of provide the same thing. You got Tail Flip to be able to negate the tremors. You got Terra stun as well, but I like the Terra in support a little bit more simply because of the Earth and Fury. You're going to mitigate the Cabrakan damage, and the Cabrakan is going to be able to shut down the Muzen Cop. So wherever the Muzen Cop goes, I want to see Kiki protect the AMC throughout the game.
Interesting bans from Rival. Up until now, they've been banning the Zeus Poseidon and limiting Joshy's options. This time, though, they banned the Awilix and the Soul. They don't want to let molluskk get the Awilix pick that he had a good start on last game. Don't let him get, and don't let the Soul through either. But molluskk just going to go with the Unbots. Maybe already this Muzen Cobb is there for Joshy, but based on what they've played, it's probably for Oceans, and now he'll have a chance to pick up that big mage that they haven't been letting him through. The Zeus or the Poseidon should be available.
I'm expecting this to actually be Chronos for Arkkyl and Artemis for PandaCat.
He likes Artemis a lot.
He does.
Yes.
Back in
Artemis,
Season 2 Enemy Days. Yeah, Season 2 Enemy Days into Season 3. Yeah, he did a lot of Blink Artemis, enabled a lot by the combination of the Janus, where you can just be aggressive and utilize those portals, but no Janus to help the Artemis get out of a sticky situation. But all of Rival's composition is fairly aggressive, and I think Rival are going to rely on that aggression to the point where that blind aggression might be the safety net for PandaCat.
Is Zeros around somewhere? Is that why this Thoth's being huffed?
Oh, no.
I feel like he's always asking for some more Thoth, but...
Nah, they're trolling.
Yeah, probably this one's not going to be picked. I think it's much more likely that we will see the Najah they were hovering on earlier on. But, I mean, where would they put this Thoth even at this point? They already have the Chronos and the Artemis mid-hunter very likely locked up. I mean...
Could be Thoth middle, actually, if they're going to actually lock it in. Probably Thoth middle, Chronos for Arkkyl, Artemis solo lane.
Maybe. Oh, they're considering... maybe taking the Poseidon away. So this is very interesting. I think they did realize that by banning the Awilix Soul, Poseidon was probably going to be prioritized by LG, so they just grab it for themselves. So maybe then this is Poseidon jungle. That's something that we often hear about at this point, right? So it certainly could be.
CaptainTwig can pilot it. He can play the Achilles as well. Hell, he can play the Cabrakan.
He certainly could. I think so too.
And between the support, we're kind of leaning on the Cabrakan support. But I don't know. What if it's the support Poseidon just looking for these rotations? Because think about it this way. Terra, like the last game, it was Baron up against the Ganesh. Kill Kiki. If you're trying to kill Kiki on the Terra, Poseidon does it well.
That's true.
So wherever Kiki's going, PBM's following. give it Poseidon.
Well, who builds Bumba's best? Because obviously PolarBearMike's going to build that. So which one of them builds Bumba's the best out of the 5? That gives us our answer.
Well, Cabrakan and Poseidon, actually.
They both build it pretty good, so maybe it'll be one of them that that PolarBearMike was to go with, as LG clearly still discussing what they want to do with their 10th pick. At this point, it's deciding on where they want this Muzen Cobb to go, most likely. Do they want to give it to Oceans again and pick maybe something like a Zeus or a big mage there for Joshy, or let Joshy take the Muzen Cobb, and then they can take one of these, a mage hunter or something of the like, over to the dual lane. But at this point, are there even any left? Freya, Soul, and Chronos all banned.
You're going to have to go maybe Nuwa potentially, like just to get global pressure, get the magical damage still online and available. If you're looking for a different kind of mage, Vulcan in the dual lane potentially.
Yeah, that's something that's been done there.
Those are like my number 1 and 2, but I'm going to ignore both of those and have very little magical damage instead.
What a world where Xaliea gets to be 10th picked. He hasn't even been changed yet, right? Where the
Not yet.
stun's
No,
taken
this
off
is
the
still
ultimate?
the old patch.
That's right. That'll be happening next week, I believe. So we'll get to see the competitive players start playing with it then. But this is Xaliea in all his glory at this point. And I think the problem has just been that people have recognized you can pressure him out a little bit earlier.
And it makes sense in terms of disrupting Rival's engage.
Yeah.
Looking at both of these drafts, Rival are the engagers. They have such an aggressive front line between Cabrakan and Achilles. I think that maybe it's PandaCat, Artemis middle with the blink.
I think it might be.
So if you're going to try to disrupt that, adding Darkest of Nights is a way to kind of slow them down temporarily.
How funny is it? We're not giving him credit for taking the Poseidon into the middle lane. We're so sure it's going to be this Artemis.
Yes.
We won't have to worry very much longer, though. Game number 3, a must-win for LG. Get it back over to Hindu and Aggro.
Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, and I've got to say that Poseidon pick, that last pick for Rival here, really shuts down LG's comp in so many different ways. Just the Whirlpool alone is going to limit so much what LG can do.
It's definitely good. I do think it's going to be Poseidon jungle still. It's the only really viable role that I could see this composition working
Poseidon
with.
solo, Achilles support, Cabrakan jungle.
Sure, then you've got Poseidon solo. I mean, where is fineokay on his A to Z series right now? Is he on P? Is that where he is?
He
that
might
could
be
a
around
hint.
there. There you go.
Yeah.
He could be recording right about now in this game, and we'll find out if it is. There's CaptainTwig. All happy. And molluskk, yeah, I pulled that face today as well with some of those plays. Friend, let's get on with this one and see if we can turn it around here. LG back in action, and it is going to be fineokay on Artemis.
Oh, he's starting a new A to Z series. He's at the very beginning. He didn't even get Achilles yet, though. No.
I was going to say he's still got a Muzen Cobb as well. Like, there's a
Agni.
few. Yeah.
He's got a couple. He's skipping a couple.
I think Agni's just taken out for some reason. Like I said,
guess
we're not
so.
even there.
Yeah, when you were asking like what comps LG could go for, we didn't really consider that maybe Rival just starts doing their own thing.
And then LG plays traditional, and
Right.
it pays off for them.
Right.
Okay.
That could be
That's
an
true.
option.
That's true. I don't know how much they had to pay Rival to do that, to make that happen, but we'll see if it's effective. So far, though, beginning of the game, both the supports have started off on the right-hand side, Cabrakan and Terra. Yeah, interesting duo lane. That's for, well, solo duo lane, I should say. That's for sure. With Artemis, Cabrakan, pretty much a standard.
Yeah, the usual.
Not even standard, because Cabrakan Artemis isn't a combo you see in the duo lane normally.
And both ends feel like they're going to get out cleared, so they both start at blue buff. And then no one starts
I love
on the
how
wave.
neither were confident. They're like, nope, it's not worth it. It's not even worth dying. Let's just start blue.
I mean, look, if you're going to pick Sobek solo, you're conceding a free lane, right? You're not pressuring that lane at all. So, you kind of get to pick what you want in that lane, right? Because you don't have to worry about getting soloed because you're against Sobek. You don't have to worry about it. So, that's why the Artemis can work. You pick a hyper carry.
You gotta be a little bit worried about a gank, though, right? And I guess
Well, he has
the one
beads.
thing Artemis is going to struggle against is a pluck from a Sobek into a Fear No Evil.
Yes, but he's got beads. He's got his
Yeah,
ultimate.
sure.
He's got some CC immunity there. It could work.
It feels like you're talking solo laners out there to try out Artemis in the solo lane right now. By saying this.
Absolutely not. Please do not pick that in my games. No way.
See, gotta think about what you're saying. PandaCat in mid lane gonna get hit by that swarm. The honey after the fact didn't work, but the Whirlpool gonna slow down molluskk and allow Twig to get in range for some follow-up damage. And ooh, that tidal surge nearly collected, but Arkkyl gets a solo kill on Oceans. This is the SPL. They do not happen at this level most of the time. We haven't seen one this year, I feel like, outside of this one.
No, he soloed him last in game 1 as well, remember? I mean, he got on the Freya.
But a little bit later than...
Yeah,
like,
not level 3
level
solo
2 versus
kills.
3, Chronos
that
versus Jibba?
Yeah, that one shouldn't happen.
No.
That one shouldn't happen. That's for sure. I don't know what happened. I guess he just didn't beads a stun and died.
Unfortunate.
Maybe he got his dash caught.
Quite potentially. Play the mid lane onto Kiki here, traps in the whirlpool, so can't dash. Will get to the edge of the whirlpool and then look for the dash at the tail end, but he's on so low health. Joshy, meanwhile, though, he was a former hunter overall, and former hunter just lands those basic attacks and gets the kill.
Makes it work for me. Yeah, that's a good turnaround there for LG. Though looks like PBM will not finish what they started. Kiki again survives on very low HP.
Joshy just continuing to whack away in this mid lane, level 3 now for him. Bad news is first blood went to Arkkyl in the duo lane on his own. So we'll see how that works out as well. He'll be able to continue his build a little bit further along now as time goes on.
Xaliea is going to just be hanging out. He started with the tiny trinket. I imagine a Pythags piece is going to be what he builds. I mean, he was building this a little bit yesterday, I believe. So, again, just trying to play for the later game and the team fights. For the same reason that having Sobek kind of concedes the lane, having an Artemis kind of concedes the lane as well.
Blinking from molluskk, just trying to defend this buff. Actually, tell a lie, trying to aggress onto this buff on the right-hand side. Didn't find it, though, so he'll fall back, and there's no pressure in the mid lane. Let's take a little look. Oh, wait a second. No, we won't take a look. fineokay's in trouble. Where's those beads, son? There's no level 5s, though, for the Fear No Evil. He'll be okay.
He's nice and safe. What were we going to take a look at, Graham?
The first blood. Let's have a look back at that first blood. Hopefully there's no kills in the meantime, and see exactly how Arkkyl got this kill. All right.
Hits him once, and then Ocean just kind of lets him walk up to him. He gets stunned, and then he dies. Yep, that's the way that works. Okay.
Unfortunate situation there. Well played by Arkkyl overall. He landed his abilities, and that's all he cared about. I actually don't think Ocean's respected the fact that the branching bowler would get minion aggro as well. The extra archers did help.
I wonder if he
beats, it's fine.
Did he not even have the dash? I wonder if he's expecting the poison darts. Yeah, at level 2. So you have to use the purification beads there. If you don't have your dash, you have to get out of it. Though production's telling me he had his dash, just decided not to use it.
It's one of those things where you try and hold it for the safety or hold it for later on, and then you
saving it for next game. That's big plays, you know. Saving it for your next respawn. You gotta have it
game 4.
We gotta have it to come out of base. You know, the respawn timer was gonna be really short because he was level 2, so he may not have been able to dash out of the fountain if he had used it instead of dying.
So gold lead is in favor of Rival now, just because of the first blood more than anything else. And molluskk is trying to claw some of that experience and gold back by stealing away some objectives on the right-hand side, but he's just been pinched by PolarBearMike, and now Twig is there too, and fineokay gets credit for the kill. It's not someone you want to have the kill go to, and his build.
Yeah, but this is typical fineokay A to Z hunters in the solo lane. But he used the Caledonian Boar there, and it just kind of watched his molluskk die. Didn't even get involved. So that's good, I guess.
He got an assist.
He got it doesn't get gold or experience, but it felt like it helped.
Imagine if just he did.
How would that even work?
I don't know. He just gets stronger or something?
That'd be cool. I mean, it does by you leveling up. So I guess it does get XP in a weird sort of way. It's just not like separated.
Strange situation there. Looks like Transcendences could be built for Josh in the mid lane. One available for molluskk in the jungle. Look, go for the Hydra's option as well. Twig, though, with the full Talaria online, mainly boost being focused on. I say that as there is a Bombers in mid lane again, or a Mask at least.
Oh, boy. Yep. Didn't even notice that start.
The Zoom PandaCat.
I'm hoping that he's going to leave this at tier 2 for a little bit. Because it's still, this
very valuable at tier 2, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's power, it's a little bit, it's movement speed. It's pretty good. Some CDR. Sure, leave it right here. Finish your boots.
And
maybe
then when the game's done,
then finish the rest of the build, and then go for the Bumbas when it's time to have some fun. I can subscribe to that.
Definitely looks like LG have taken the foot off the gas in terms of the aggression early here, especially with the comp they've designed. Going into this one, it's very much a hold the lanes, try and farm, and look for a team fight where we all commit together. So far, the only weakness has been is that, you know, Ocean's down on that left-hand side did cause him a bit of trouble, and Arkkyl started to run away with things over here. Now he's already 2 levels up.
It's only getting worse if he's allowed to just do that, which is walk in and steal a purple buff with no contest whatsoever. This is where Chronos from ahead feels impossible to deal with because he's doing just as much damage with the auto attacks, basically, but then he's got his stop time and his time rift, and they just do so much damage and set him up so well.
Left and Harpy's going to go to Rival here as well. No buffs up in their jungle for the moment. As a Tomaku being contested, but the Dark is a nice pop by LG. Looking to try and make a play in mid lane on PolarBearMike, who didn't take that much poke. And that could be turnaround time. The ultimate out from PolarBearMike causes problems, but Kiki had an ultimate of his own that's keeping him alive for now, and he's going to survive with a barest amount of health.
Man, PBM's got it. I was going to say they needed just a bit more damage. PolarBearMike will provide it. He trades himself out for it, though.
We saw that play yesterday from Dardes, where he goes in for the kill. kill on Ul, remember?
Yeah.
The support mentality of like, well, I guess I can get it and die for it in trade. It's the same sort of thing right there.
But this time it's an actual support instead of an ADC or a mid laner.
Yep.
So yeah, it works out a little bit better. If only PandaCat had a bit more damage and didn't have Messenger's Mask as his power option.
But you've got to think about the fact that he wouldn't have been in position because he needed the mobility to get there in the first place.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't have had the Kraken anyway.
I'm not buying it because he basically barrel stuffed him with it. I think he would have been just fine without that extra bit of movement speed. He would have made it.
And they're going to give Arkkyl the red buff now as well, just to continue the pressure in this lane. What's going to happen with the red on the left-hand side, though, for LG? It's actually going to go to Joshy. So the kind of surrendering Oceans is losing this lane. He's just going to try and tread water to the best of his ability here.
Yeah, that's definitely the right phrase to use because he's not going to be swimming laps anytime soon at this rate. He's really been bullied pretty effectively.
And Arkkyl just going to show Kiki that he's got a ward there as he places it down and got some damage off. Ocean's going to punish him a little bit for that at the time being. As 8 minutes approach, LG haven't really done too much in terms of plays here, but they still found themselves 2 kills and they're both on Joshy. It was Rival's aggression that set him up for those kills too.
Yep, and now he's got a little bit of a lead on the PandaCat because of that. Maybe they can utilize that early lead and just trying to play around Joshy. I mean, this AMC has been a big character for a lot of different teams so far in Season 6. He's seen a lot of success. Could be the case here for LG.
What a weird time that AMC has been meta for quite a while now, in terms of not to the sense where he's consistently banned every single game, because generally some of the hunters like that end up being in those situations where it's perma-ban if he's valuable, but at the moment he's just seen decent play.
In mid, in ADC, you can kind of put him anywhere.
Solo, fineokay.
Could be next. He skipped him on the A to Z though, so you never know.
Hive's down, Joshy wrapping around the back looking for a bit of a pick. Weevil did connect it to PandaCat. PandaCat has disappeared. Problem is though, Joshy ends up falling down after the fight to Bracken and the follow-up damage from Twig. But Twig in trouble only for a moment as he jumps away. Molluskk was looking for the extra damage but couldn't find it from the somersault. Mike still in the fray, using the minions to try and help him out a little bit more. Has to turn around though, after all his abilities are on cooldown.
That's actually a win for Rival because Joshy was 3-0 by the time he ended up dying at that point. So it's a bit of a shutdown bonus. Goes the way of Rival, worth a little bit more gold.
Arkyl's threading every needle on Oceans here. I don't think I've actually seen him miss yet so far.
No, and when that starts to happen, then you really start to feel like you're in trouble.
High thanks piece first item on Chronos.
Yeah, I saw it. If he had Bancrofts, he kills Oceans there, right?
It is only the Europeans who've done this so far.
Yeah.
It's only an EU kid. Yeah. I've seen it in solo, I've seen it in mid, and I've seen it in Hunter. And there's a rewind from Arkkyl to get him away from danger. Or is it? I guess it's safe because they're not going to continue the aggression where he rewound to. Red buff will be secured, though. No, it might not be, actually. Arkyl's over there too, but meanwhile, Zed is in a trap! And he's going to fall down too. Rough situation.
OP, dude. No other solo laner could have done that. Good trap. Coming off the stun from CaptainTwig.
And now the Kraken hits Kiki at the tail end of that. The red buff was stolen away. Arkkyl ends up with that one. PandaCat also has one in tow. And Rival now up 2,000 gold.
Purple buff spawning. The Oceans isn't getting this one. Now with PBM close by. One Bracken ultimate seals Ocean's fate from this position, and even just a stop time does a third of his health.
And we talk about gold a lot, but it's definitely experience in the early game that is clearly showing through. 2-level lead so far for Arkkyl. A level lead for fineokay over Xaliea now. And also in the support role, 3-level differential there. It's starting to have a knock-on effect with the situation the Luminosity are in here.
Really, Joshy's the only one who's managed to stay close by, and it's because he has all 3 kills for Luminosity so far. And you saw Rival immediately start to focus him out a little bit more in that last engagement. I wouldn't be surprised if that trend continues.
Blinking mid lane for PolarBearMike, and molluskk spots that out in time and blinks away. Ult down for PolarBearMike though. In the grand scheme of things, I still think it's a pretty good win for Rival because, you know, a support ult for a blink out of an assassin could be useful, but Twig getting picked is not helpful, and the kill going to Joshy also causes more problems.
A little bit of overextension there, to say the least, for CaptainTwig. If the rest of the team is getting out cleared, PandaCat can't step up against the AMC. He loses that trade. No way for him to end up getting there.
Cracking in mid lane on Kiki as well, trapped in the Whirlpool, and that's the danger of Poseidon being so useful there. Meanwhile, fineokay being very confident there, keeping molluskk busy for so long, even though he's on a ward. And now he may get punished for that, but he's got PolarBearMike in time. molluskk monkey toss didn't work out so well as Joshy got the kill on Panda in mid lane. molluskk under pressure, has to somersault away. It's Mike in a 2v1 as a support.
Molluskk takes a couple tower shots, but he still ends up surviving. So close, but no cigar.
Does he touch the trap?
Did he just walk into a trap?
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to die to it then. I'd have been done. I would have taken my microphone off. I think that would have been it. That was risky play as well. Balls of steel is what I'll call it. Arkkyl, meanwhile,
Well, he needs them for the trap.
Yeah, he does. 12.5 minutes in the game then, and Arkyl's position around the goal queue again. Arkyl's just owning the left-hand side of this map on his own for the most part.
Yeah, this is no longer the duo lane. This is the Arkkyl lane.
And you can see Mike is so confident in that. He's come all the way to the right side, like just leave him to do his own thing.
What does he need to do? I mean, he's got it under control. I don't even think Kiki showing up is enough to get him killed. As long as he has rewind and relics, I literally think that there's no one that can kill him even in a 2-on-1.
Interesting to see Kiki go for the Stone of Gaia here over that, but we'll hold that a second. molluskk under a bit of pressure, pinned in the wall, get some support here. fineokay coming in with the beads as well, looking for the shots on molluskk, who does jump away with the monkey just before the whirlpool comes down, but he walks right back into Mike, the original aggressor. And at the tail end of that, fineokay goes down for that rotation. It's 1-for-1 so far. Could be a 2-for-1 in favor of LG.
Joshy had to use the beads, as PandaCat did as well. Kiki was able to force those out. Arkyl's rotating in, but he's a little bit low on mana from this position.
Arkkyl knew Oceans was there, but Oceans won't follow up. However, this is starting to go exactly what you were just saying, Ryan, and jokingly so about Rival's composition being a bit all over the place is the best answer I can give you there.
Loose.
And LG are being able to punish them for it here.
Yeah, suboptimal is the way I would describe this Rival composition. And you're right, LG's punishing them nicely. I mean, fineokay just doesn't have the HP and protections to be able to withstand lurking in the waters from Xaliea. He's got no way to get out of it either.
Arkkyl just going to take one on the left-hand side, though. molluskk does rotate in to defend the tower. At first, I thought he may go for a bit of a play. With no fear, no evil being available, a little bit risky. Not only that, but a 5-level differential between the two.
Yeah, you're not fighting that one. No chance. No one wants to fight Arkkyl at this position. And that's the scary part, right? That Rival is not in their best positioning in comparison to some of the other games at this point. I mean, they ended the game like right around 10 minutes from now in game 2. But they haven't even had a team fight where Arkyl's involved. They've still been close. As soon as Arkyl's involved, he's going to do way more than Oceans is able to provide. Oceans is still providing something to the team fights, even when not rotating, because he has the global ultimate. Arkkyl is just chilling and doing him. As soon as he shows up, it might be game over.
Yeah, he showed reinforcements. He brought reinforcements this time for that purple buff. I don't think he wants Oceans to have a single one in this lane if he can so help it. There was a ward down near the Gold Fury for Luminosity, though, that just gave the game away ahead of time, so Oceans didn't end up getting pinched there. Mike in mid now, level 12, got the blink, and then Beads is going to be his secondary relic here.
Let's be scared of the Fear No Evil in the plucks coming from Xaliea.
Is that going to be a Gem of Isolation next room too?
Could be Ethereal Staff,
Ethereal, I was thinking
but it's probably going to be Gem so that he can tremor you and keep you locked in.
Arkkyl is locked in place by those walls and the burst from the Stinger. Joshy is really strong right now. He's very, very powerful.
7-1.
And they've got to keep an eye on him because the Stinger damage, we keep talking about.
Yeah, 7-1. I mean, Arkkyl just no respect for how much damage was coming his way. All he had to do was use the purification beads, and he is long gone.
And now LG trying to punish it, knowing that Arkyl's down. This is a good chance for them to look for a Gold Fury here. But only 3 members on it. Now Xaliea shows up, plucks CaptainTwig away. Kraken secures it for Rival. And the continuation of lost objectives in the SPL continues.
CaptainTwig blinks safely, with thinking about blinking aggressively in towards Kiki, but...
The league's just full of dirty thieves, is what it feels like. Everyone just steals all the time.
Well, in that position, I mean, what does Luminosity think is going to happen? I mean, there's a Kraken. They don't zone him at all.
molluskk going to blink in on fineokay. fineokay drops down Tusky, and Tusky does a bit of work to get the beads out of molluskk, but it doesn't result in a kill. So at the end of the day, molluskk uses both relics in his ult and doesn't really find a win there.
Twig actually lets Oceans off the hook, just in case there's some rotation coming in, but then he takes a path that might end up getting him caught. Quick combat dodge, though. Saves his life. Got away traded out his Fatal Strike for Ocean's Aegis. Fine trick, I would say, for CaptainTwig there. You take those.
And I always go back to the Stone and Gaia on Terra here. Kiki went for that over Thebes. It's in the same tree, so to speak. Why would he go for the Gaia? Health? Just raw health? But
no, I mean, it's more about
does it too.
There's probably just going to be a lot of random fighting in a game like this, and so you might not have enough time to stack up all those stacks. As well as when you get Kraken, you'll start getting that HP 5 regen right away, so you'll get a big burst of healing in the following few seconds after you get Kraken, if you're able to survive. Problem is, CaptainTwig has a Brawler's Beat Stick, so it gets inherently less valuable right away. Thebes probably a little bit better. If there were more knockups, I would like it.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Unless I don't, does Tremors count as a knockup? I don't think it does. Yeah, that's why I was like, well, nope, not gonna be the case. And talking about the Tremors, Mike did go for Ethereal Staff, not the Gem of Isolation. But it looks like PandaCat's gonna solve that problem anyway by picking one up of his own.
Tremors plus Gem Whirlpool. Puke. I mean, good luck. You're never getting out of that.
No, and now Kiki's in a bit of trouble against Arkkyl. Arkkyl level 18, Kiki level 11. And he has to use the ultimate to try and defend himself. He'll get a heal at the tail end of it, but it won't be enough to keep him alive. And even the darkest of nights will not stop Arkkyl from landing the last shot and picking himself up another solo kill. But it's against the support, so don't class it so much.
A 7-level lead for Arkkyl in that fight. No chance that Kiki has to survive
Ocean's
it.
in trouble. Max going to blink him round the back, get the beads out of Ocean straight away. Nice teleporting from Xaliea to get the pluck, but PolarBearMike with the beads in response immediately to cancel that one out. Pressure relieved from LG at the tier 2 tower, but the damage was pretty much already been done.
No Fury for them to take. Maybe a tier 1 tower in mid is the call, but Joshy's on the AMC, which has very, very good wave clear. From a safe enough distance most of the time, you can just honey and take it down and be okay. It's only a couple pokes on the tier 1 tower in mid before Rival have to back it up.
And now Arkkyl Batz the left-hand side, but nothing to really do for him for now. Surprised we've not seen the teams group up a little bit more already at this stage, with the towers being a little bit... Arkkyl being so far ahead now, I'm surprised Rival haven't just chosen to group up and power on through with this.
Agreed. I think that as soon as this Oni Fury's up, that's going to be the group time for Rival. I mean, what do you really group for at this position? A tier 1 tower in mid? Not really worth it overall. I think that once there's an objective worth grouping for, they'll do it.
molluskk was looking for a 1v1 there, potentially against Poseidon. He just got spotted out. He's actually going to go back to base, but Ocean's in trouble against Arkkyl again. And the zoomies are online, and Arkkyl will get the kill on the left-hand side. Another solo kill against Xaliea that's struggling in this lane. Kiki now struggling. The Kraken did connect. Bit of sustain there, but the execute will kill him thanks to CaptainTwig. Joshy, though, takes out CaptainTwig again. And Joshy is the only one really causing problems for Rival here.
On the other hand, basically everyone on Rival is causing problems for LG. I do have a situation that I actually don't know the outcome. If Terra has a rock down and then she doesn't get knocked up from the Kraken, I don't think she gets the Stone of Gaia proc.
Good question. I don't think, I mean, it doesn't count, so yeah, I guess it wouldn't.
You're not knocked up?
Yeah, that's the other reason why I was like, why go that on as well?
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure either, but I do think you don't get knocked up, you don't get a sustained proc because of it. I'll go test it afterwards. I'm sure someone's tweeting us already. Mike, going to get a little bit too far forward there. He thinks because he's got a hunter with him, it's PandaCat or Arkkyl. It's not, it's fine, okay.
He's played with a lot of Artemis in his time, though, so you know that he's comfortable with it. It's just, you're right, normally his duo laner, not his solo laner.
And the most brutal thing about this composition they put together is that fineokay's gone for a Kasari as well. So this is a tanky sort of Artemis that's going to cause problems for them. But not only that, he's empowering the other hunters or auto-attack based characters around him to do even more damage. And it also helps out PandaCat a little bit too with the Trident.
Yeah, just rough at this point already. I mean, you've got good synergy, I think, with Rival's composition, and when it comes to their itemization, at least, their synergy as far as gods go, there, I guess. I mean, Kabrak and Poseidon work very well together, so that can work.
And you mentioned the Oni Fury, and this is the first grouping we really see out of Rival. 3 members here on this left-hand side. Now, LG have done okay at the objectives, but the last Gold Fury going the way of Rival really caused a problem for LG. I want to see Luminosity group up here now, try and put some pressure on somewhere. But they're not going to get a chance to, because already Kiki's been removed by the Kraken combo, combined with PolarBearMike's walls to bring him down in a 4v5. LG are now on the back foot once more.
PandaCat's out of mana, so he's got it back, but LG don't know that, and they don't have any information.
SG, maybe?
Yeah, you could try and pull Big Boy, but they do have ward coverage. I think that, I mean, clearly Rival's going to march on over right away because they know that's an option.
Sure.
But
I think if maybe Oceans was there, they could have potentially looked at it, but then again, you're right. I think Pyromancer's the better call. Sentry ward down for a Mike. He'll get vision and make sure the Fire Giants are all nice and safe. Xaliea just trying to get as much from the right. And Rival are the ones that are going to commit to the Fire Giant. It's game time for LG now to try and make something happen. Xaliea on the way. Joshy too. Molluskk around the back. Fineokay available for him. Going for the steal.
Rival gets the Fire Giant anyways. He didn't have Fear No Evil. I was waiting for it too.
Yeah, I was like, I called it thinking he had it because I'd not seen it get used anywhere. But at the end of the day, it's a free Fire Giant, and molluskk now on the run. Tail end of the fight, Xaliea got exploded after the Fire Giant fell down too. And this is only 21 minutes in the game. Good news is at least Oceans gets a bit of farm on this left-hand side, and a bit of freedom from the oppression that Arkkyl has put on him.
Yeah, Freedom is right. Arkyl's really pushed him into the ground all game long. Twig is here to defend tier 2 just in case, but it looks like LG's going to back and stop an attempted Phoenix.
No minions is the big key here. PandaCat actually taking it over to begin with, and Mike saying, nope, boys, I am not doing that one. If you're going to do it, you do it yourselves. I am going back to the mid area where tier 1 and tier 2 tower still stands, but Arkkyl and fineokay were a little bit late on exit there. Arkkyl forced to use his Aegis, and I'm not sure if the beads came out too, but definitely the Aegis came through to try and prevent some of that damage. So LG trying to slow it down.
Panda still lurking for a Kraken. He's going to not find one. I thought he was going to pull the trigger. Decided against it. Ocean still with both relics available. Could have escaped pretty easily.
What's doing left-hand harpies right now is his tier 2 time. The mid lane's going down. He didn't have his fineokay available. He's just using the last fight. And CaptainTwig upset about those left-hand harpies being contested. Will take the trade and get the kill off camera. Meanwhile, Oceans does get a kill on fineokay as Xaliea finds a nice pluck in mid lane.
Molluskk ended up dying on the left side mid harpies, but don't forget he got both beads and Aegis from both fineokay and Arkkyl. Look, it's in perfect. It's just perfect between those two in their beads and Aegis timers. That was not the same Fear No Evil, so at least that does end up getting a kill.
Yep.
Onto fineokay in the end. Something going their way.
Definitely something, but the problem is that the damage is really done already. I mean, sure, it's not as quick as the last game, so to speak, but LG got off to a better start, and Rival are paying a bit of a crazy comp to an extent as well. Three auto-attack based characters that are squishy in terms of Artemis. Not 3, where am I getting the 3rd one from? For some reason I keep thinking PandaCat's on Medusa in mid again, that's why.
Yeah, but he's got good auto attack.
Yeah.
So does CaptainTwig. He actually built the stone cutting sword to help synergize with that Shogun's Kasari that fineokay built.
Genius. And then the chins for fineokay towards the tail end, just in case anyone does have any health left after a Whirlpool Kraken combination. He'll just auto-attack him down.
Yeah, but he has no pen. I mean, it's just Void Shield. He's not going to... Those procs aren't going to really do a whole lot for you, I don't think.
Potter's Blessing gives you...
No, it just gives you a
Oh
attack
no,
speed.
that's the Assassin's.
That's the Assassin's Blessing. They look similar.
I'm trying to help his
arrows.
build out here. Like you're calling him up, no pen. I'm like, well, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I mean, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Let's be honest. Yeah. It'll be fine.
And look at Kiki's build. That's all health and not a lot of prots, so it doesn't matter too much.
See?
Yeah, so it works out.
A to Z, that's why you watch him. That's why
right.
you tune on in. Tier 2 time in the middle lane is the last one to fall down on LG's side of the map. 5-man grouping, 4 members with the Fire Giant for about another minute and a half, I'd say, give or take here, for Rival to try and make something happen. Keep it out for Xaliea to look for a pluck if opportuned, but PolarBearMike will be looking for a blink initiation, and any target is available at this point.
I mean, fineokay and Arkkyl have to be careful. They still don't have relics yet.
The blink in actually goes towards Xaliea. Xaliea gets Darkest at Night, sorry, causes some problems for him, but the Darkest at Night slowed the aggression from Rival. Twiggle for Ocean's ult, not a bad trade.
Twig had to use his blink and beads though at the same time, so now he's a sitting duck for that Fear No Evil. Molluskk outside of what should be a ward there on the other side of that wall, so I don't think he was spotted, but still able to jump away. Rival's backing up.
PandaCat sold the Messenger's Mask in the late game.
Nice.
Don't know what for, I just saw the hole, and now Ocean's in a really rough spot. Nice bit of help from Kiki, though, to peel him away from danger. And Morris with the Fear No Evil distracted Rival on the backlines, but he's forced to somersault away. Xaliea, after the lurking in the waters, has to escape 2 of the dash. Damage overall, though, is actually okay. LG hold their Phoenix line here. I mean, Fire Giant was at the tail end from Rival anyway. It was them trying to reinitiate. They didn't find a win, but they did get a whole lot of relics used by both teams.
Both sides. PandaCat the only one with an ultimate still up. And as a result, I think Rival might want to take the fight.
Yeah, LG were actually charging on forward, happy to take a fight again, realizing they're all alive. But the Kraken out from PandaCat has done a hell of a lot of damage to Oceans and Xaliea. Not enough for a kill, but Molluskk gets in, and Molluskk gets out after taking down PandaCat. Now the Kraken wasn't available.
Nicely done. Yeah, Rival definitely thirsty for the fight because they had the Kraken, but the mostly healthy Sobek still not the ideal target for that Kraken. I think PandaCat was just saying that I'm going to Kraken the first person I see. Just not the best target.
And at this point of the game, then it's 10,000 gold now that our Gold Fury goes down for Rival in the lead for them. So around, 10,000 gold, nearly 10,000 experience as well. So around, 2K per player.
Yeah, but the experience, not really that relevant.
That's true.
I mean, it's only relevant on PBM, actually fineokay behind in experience in comparison to Xaliea. So not a big concern for the XP.
Pluck onto CaptainTwig, into a Fear No Evil on an overhand smash, and Ocean's Branching Bowler gets the kill. LG now commit to a Fire Giant, Enhanced Fire Giant. 2 members of Rival are dead, and the slight messing around from Rival could be punished here momentarily, as LG are looking to try and bring in Rival to the FG. Xaliea being focused on the front line, but he's tanky enough for now. PolarBearMike trying to keep him busy. Darkest Night slowed down Rival, but Xaliea is getting very low, and LG are having a hard time getting back in the fight until the walls from Kiki cause a problem.
Molluskk good blink, but Arkkyl blows him up, and Arkkyl might find another one, but that Odysseus bow damage is causing a lot of problems.
PandaCat back in play, but Joshy over the wall with the honey gets the kill, and Xaliea makes sure Joshy's still alive. PandaCat now against the whole armada of Luminosity. Only problem is LG would love it to have done the Fire Giant here, but the health bars are just too low.
No chance for them to do it from this position. Joshy barely able to survive the extra blink in from PBM, but that's enough to get the focus off of PandaCat. He gets a relic from Joshy. That's a worthwhile blink for sure.
And that's one of the things about the builds Joshy and Oceans have got here, is there's no actual health regen in them either. No Assy, Bloodforge, something to try and regen off the camps in the jungle maybe, so they could have potentially looked at that. Terra heal won't be enough.
No, but I do think that a Bloodforge is probably coming at least for Joshy. Maybe Oceans goes for a more auto attack focused option, but Joshy's gone pretty heavy into the ability damage, and I think that's the right call on AMC for what it's worth. So I like his build thus far, but a Bloodforge would go a long way. More power, some lifesteal.
Credit where it's due to Joshy, do 10, 1, and 6 in this game. His Raijin game earlier today wasn't that bad at all either.
No.
He's starting to settle down in mid, it feels. So the adjustment LG have made for Joshy to mid seems to be helping some, but they're having issues in the dual lane now as well.
Kraken doesn't come out, surprisingly enough, for PandaCat. Fatal Strike won't be used aggressively, only defensively.
No. Hover in the air and fake that you're going to go for it, but instead fall on back. Sentry Ward down then for Rival at the Enhanced Fire Giant. They're going to pull it now. It's actually PandaCat, I think, right now, aggro. No, it's fineokay that's tanking it. Of course it is, because Artemis' tank version here. PolarBearMike drops the wall down onto Kiki's face. CaptainTwig chasing the molluskk away, and the Kraken at the tail end did connect, but it didn't secure. PandaCat showing off his Wolfie impression.
Close there, but Rival still get it, even with the Kraken being a little bit too early.
The good news is, though, he's tied up in terms of kills now as well. LG.
Yeah, kills don't matter that much.
I'm a little bit worried that Rival's comp could come out to haunt now, because they've been a little bit loose for a little bit too long. Sure, they've got the Enhanced Fire Giant here, but LG have had some pretty good defenses so far. If you look at it, all the 3 Phoenixes are still alive.
That's true, but it feels to me like that was the window of
Do you
opportunity
think
for
they're just
Luminosity.
playing with the food? Is that what you think?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean, look, Rival is the superior team here. There's no argument otherwise. Clearly, this is also not Rival's best composition, I would say.
I think it is. I think the fans at home will disagree, especially with a hasten ring for PandaCat in the mid lane now.
I don't hate it. You've got a Shoguns on your team. I would much prefer Rod of Tahuti, but could be worse, I suppose. I mean, Hasten lets him move around a little bit, lets him kite Xaliea really nicely, and Kiki lets him keep the chase going on some of those characters as well. It's not, again, I don't think it's your best possible item in that spot, but it's not as bad as it looks.
fineokay going to lead the charge up this left-hand side now with the minions all coming through. CaptainTwig is on the right, just going to bring those minions up too. And mid lane is pretty pushed so far, but 4 men grouped, and they're trying to see if they can catch anyone around the corner. And Molluskk realizes, goes in with a Fear No Evil, and actually gets fineokay to beads and run away. That was the only relic really consumed, but that was 2 ultimates invested by LG for that play. That's not a good look.
Yeah, that's a win for Rival, 100%. I mean, now you only lost 1 set of purification beads, and it's on a character that still has CC immunity in the kit. With that Caledonian board, you take those.
Molluskk going to juke back away from Twig, who was trying to get aggressive with him. Molluskk just playing Ring Around the Roses where possible, but Twig gives him a slap with a shield. And overall, it's a trade there. Left-hand side is still a 4-on-4. Ultimates available for everybody on Rival still.
fineokay gets poked out a little bit. They don't have the same problem that they did last game, where it's a lack of tower damage. They've got plenty.
And all the while, Twig managed to get Phoenix on that right side because of that play.
It's because Molluskk wasted that ultimate on the left. I mean, Twig doesn't have to respect his damage whatsoever. You don't have to. Now you can get this Oni Fury back and finish off your final item if you really need to. Looks like PBM might be going for a Gem of Isolation of his own, would be my guess, coming out of that tree. You use your Oni waves next. This is bad though.
Yeah, Twig did get a Phoenix on the right-hand side at least, but he shouldn't fall down to the dot damage if anything. No! The wall was just off the mark.
Talaria
Twig
boots.
just too quick to get away and gets out. Now PandaCat comes in, has to beat away from the pull from Xaliea. It was nicely timed, but now PolarBearMike keeps him in place for the Kraken. Xalia's still alive though, lurking in the waters. fineokay threads the needle of an arrow though into his head to bring him down, and Twig actually came back to help out again.
Man, they got over here quick. Maul's with another Blink Fear to Weevil. This one doesn't get a whole lot either. Arkkyl did have to use the Purification Beads, but he's ready to stand and fight.
And now Wallace jumps over the wall to safety, but it's not safety. He's into the clutches of CaptainTwig. And Rival now could just be looking to go down right side. They've got Oni Fury minions there, I think, as well, along with a fire minion with.
They'll be up here yet. I mean, that's just going to be a regular fire wave. Oh no, they've got plenty of damage with that anyways. They don't even need the wave.
No, this is going to go straight on in. Oceans can't really do much here. Joshy on the left-hand side, they realize the game's done. GG boys, Rival 3-0.
Impressive performance from Joshy. I mean, 10-1 when the rest of your team is falling apart at the seams is impressive work from him. He's looking much better. Plays more hunters today than traditional mages, but the one game that he played Raijin still looks pretty decent.
It was always going to be a rough week for Luminosity coming into here anyway, just because we knew where they were in the standings, the fact they struggle against some lower-end teams in the league, and when you have a week against the Pittsburgh Knights and Rival, you're going to have a rough time of things, because these are the ones vying for the #1 spot in the region.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the league.
Any single team who had to play Pittsburgh Knights Thursday, Rival Friday was going to have a rough week. Luminosity is certainly no exception to that. It's not concerning to me that they got 6-0 in those two sets. It's the manner in which that it happened. It just not a single close game in six of them.
And that's why I'm kind of like, what's the takeaway from this for LG that you can be you're looking for a boon, right? You're looking for something to take away from these two sets that you can try and improve on. Xaliea clearly had something to say towards PandaCat about some of those plays.
Well, it was the fist bump, handshake, fist bump debacle. You hate to see that. You really do. That might be the worst part of the whole set for me.
Do you know what I'm waiting for? Thumbs up. Just walk past and thumbs up.
That's so impersonal. Like, if someone gave me just if I was like trying to shake someone's hand and they just gave me a thumbs up, I'd be like, why do they hate me so much? That'd be real. I'd be really peeved about it.
That's unfortunate. With that,
Great.
LG
Awesome.
lose 0-3. Let's go to the desk to break it down because we've got another big set this time coming up next.
That's right. We do have another big set coming up, but give me a moment, Hindi. I'll talk a little bit about the one that we just saw. Anatoly will help me break it down as well. I mean, the end result, I think, is not surprising at all. The 3-0 in Rival's favor is one that we expected, though I think there was a little bit of signs of life there. Finally, Joshy looked comfortable in the mid lane, though he was just playing a hunter again. What did you see in this last game?
I think that a lot of it came down to the Arkkyl. Like, Arkkyl seemed like a
Chronos.
man that was possessed almost, like finding a solo kill actually twice, one onto Kiki, and then one also, I believe, onto Oceans. Maybe even more than one solo kill, actually, throughout this game. It was a very difficult time for Oceans on the Xbalanque. Very questionable draft, going for double physical between the Xbalanque and the Muzen, leaving only Terra and Sobek as the magical damage dealers. Didn't do LG any justice.
For what it's worth, I don't know how much it hurt him. I mean, we were talking a good bit about PolarBearMike's build, and it didn't exactly seem like he was worrying too much about making sure he was stacked up in physical procs, as Joshy put in plenty of work on the side of LG as well. I know you were defending it, the ethereal staff and stuff like that. You want to talk about where PBM went?
Yeah, so ethereal staff is a 2600 gold, which gives you 200 base health. But with the passive of stealing 5% health and 8% mana, which helps out the tremors, basically between hitting out Kiki's Terra, which had 3300 health in the late game, and then also Xaliea Sobek, which had 2760 health, he was stealing about 303 health collectively, making it a 503 health item, which surpasses Warlock's staff at full stacks.
It's quite a lot that he got, though eventually you worry things like the Kin-Size Roshan would eventually come out and maybe cause some problems. Never really slowed PBM down, though. He was able to even build more damage and continue to provide tankiness and damage to go along with it. It was fineokay, though, on the Artemis in the solo lane. Can't believe y'all at home didn't see that one coming. I mean, come on. And that's obviously where that Artemis goes in that situation. And fineokay has a good game on the Artemis there, too. I mean, this was clearly a loose third game from Rival. Arkkyl felt like he was the one really trying to close out, but everyone else was maybe a little looser than normal, but they still brought it home in the end.
Yeah, I definitely felt like once the Artemis was locked in, I'm like, oh, this is a PandaCat special that we're going to be seeing today. But to be fair, whenever you're against Xaliea and you see Terra and Sobek locked in, it doesn't really matter what you go in that solo lane because there's no pressure coming from that Guardian in the solo lane. was a good rotation from PBM, being able to get many Totem of Coups. fineokay was able to accelerate very effectively in that mid-game portion.
And they've got to figure something out, I think, for LG, for Kiki, because he has had a real rough 6 games. And that might just be reflective of the fact they're outclassed, and the support is the one that gets punished. That could be true. Or it could be true that Kiki is making some poor mistakes, not quite comfortable there in that support role. Whatever it is, I think LG clearly have some stuff they have to figure out as a squad to try and get themselves into a better position.
That's true, and I think that a lot of it also between picks and bans, Slaney, the coach out of Rival, was able to really help them. But I think that game number 3, I don't think Slaney was involved in the decision-making process whatsoever.
I'd be very curious to get a chance to hear from him and some of his thoughts on how that actually went. So good thing that he is standing by. It's Coach Slaney and fineokay. They're standing by for their interview.
Thanks a lot, Finch. I am joined by Slaney and fineokay. Now, congratulations, first of all, on the victory today. Real talk for me is you guys, camaraderie-wise, seem to be getting along very, very well together. Did you guys expect coming into this year you'd get on with each other as well as it looks like to the outside audience?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a team with Slaney before, and we were pretty good friends before that. Honestly, I've never teamed with Mike, but I've been friends with him for a while. Panda is actually one that I wasn't really close to, but I'm really close to him now. And honestly, going into it, like, being like skillful and like having a good attitude and being willing to learn is really important, but also just being like having a cool personality and getting along, I think, is really important as well, because if you're just getting along and doing everything together and hanging out, you can talk about the game outside of the actual game itself and scrims and stuff, and it just creates a positive environment that's just really fun to be around and hang out with.
Fine. Were you starting a new SPL A to Z series with the Artemis? Why did you skip the other A gods?
That's a good question. Well, honestly, I've played every role besides Hunter in SPL this season, so I figured if we got up 2-0 against one of the worst teams in the league, that maybe we could pull out the Artemis, because it's not completely troll, you know, it's something that I think can work. They had a pretty good comp for it, but I was picking it regardless, so I kind of got hard countered, which is a little weird because I last picked it, so getting hard countered when I'm last picked, I don't know, but. Yeah, so that's pretty much the story behind that.
Slaney, obviously, the matchup against Luminosity today, you were favourites to win coming into it.
Yeah.
How difficult is it as a coach to try and keep the players under control for the most part, knowing that they're going to be a little bit more loose?
Well, in that specific game, there was no keeping them under control. I would love for you guys to hear the comms, because there basically weren't any. It was just trolling around. Like, in the second game, Mike was screaming, "I'm the best mechanical player on this side of the Mississippi," in the middle of a team fight. So in
well,
certain
did anyone
games,
stop him? Like, was he wrong?
I mean, no.
Was he wrong?
There's when players are having fun, I think it's like important to let them have fun. If there's no like negative things happening, like if it's not affecting the game, you might as well just let them have their fun.
Just a couple sets left before MSI. Is it hard to stay focused on your final regular season games before you get to the LAN?
No, I think we're super focused. I think we're ready. The next big set for us is SK, which I think is our next game. They're looking really good, so we're focused really hard, and I think we'll be ready to face them.
Big set coming up right after this. Renegades going up against PK. Got a prediction for us?
I think PK is going to take it 3-2. I think PK has actually been playing really, really well lately. I think they've stepped up really hard. So
I think PK will take it 3-0.
Ooh, okay. So a couple boys thinking PK is going to end the streak for Renegades. Guys, congratulations again, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.